everybody, and welcome to the NLC Aurora Open. My name is Hipbrain, and I'm joined by the wonderful Foxy. Been a hot minute, mate. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm really excited to be watching some League of Legends, casting some League of Legends, and Fearless Draft, no doubt. This is actually my first time doing Fearless Draft, so I'm very excited to see the curveballs that we're throwing in draft.
Honestly, Fearless is an absolute banger. It's so fun. We'll go over that in a little bit, though, for anyone who hasn't watched any of these games. And let's just have a little look at the bracket overall and see how everybody has been doing. Obviously, into the quarterfinals right now. The rest of the broadcast, I don't believe, was broadcasted at all, but I could be very wrong. I think it might be done on other channels. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't pay attention. But we've had Fourth Wall versus K5, Lazy versus DMG, Natives versus JL, and we're on to our final quarters, which is going to be the big one. This is Verdant versus Ruddy. So these are the two big names in the league going toe-to-toe versus each other. Although I will say, when we do have a little look at the bracket, at the predictions, we might see a little bit of where the casters feel this series is going to go if we bring that one up. I believe Foxy actually being the only one who has broken the mold there.
What can I say?
A lot of Ruddy favoritism right now. A lot of people, especially on the 3-0s as well. Me, Duckling, and Veteran all think this is going to be a 3-0 for Ruddy. I mean, we're either all going to look like clowns and Foxy's going to look like a genius, or Foxy, you're going to look like a right fool here.
What can I say? You're halfway there. You know, you got the 3-0 correct. But you've just got the wrong team. It's absolutely a clean Verdant sweep. I believe in the boys, the green boys. # thrive by nature. I'm all in for them.
Well, I mean, honestly, you're about to undo us all potentially. We'll find out, but we'll go over what the series is and what Fearless Draft is. So we are playing a best of 5. For anyone who hasn't watched Fearless yet, I personally am a massive fan of it. I know that I think it's divided a few people in some areas. I've spoken to some players that love it. Some, especially some coaches I've seen online, haven't been a particularly big fan on it. But also at the same time, have kind of enjoyed elements of what it does. But I had a very interesting conversation a couple of weeks ago about it. But what Fearless actually is the teams only get to play their champions one time. So let's say you pick Kennen. You can't play Kennen for the rest of the series. That is just gone. The other team can, and once they've played it, it's removed from their pool. So what this means is we kind of get the meta picks out the way fairly early, and then the teams get more time to kind of expand and go into deeper champ pool stuff. I think as you get later into the series, it becomes very exciting. One of the things that me and Aragon talked a lot about was when you use picks up. You know, you might pick, let's say, like a Malphite Yasuo combo for like your mid-top. And then you're like, well, we'll pick Insurance of the Rakan Zaya. And then if you end up losing that game, you've used your Rakan Zaya up for the rest of the series. So it can make for some really interesting drafts on when they decide to pull certain heroes out. And if you can deny something that is essential to a comp, that's that comp completely screwed and they can't play it next game. I think it makes for some really, really fun kind of mind games and draft decisions. I'm so excited for it. I got to it 2 weeks ago. It was a banger.
Yeah, and it means pocket picks as well become even more deadly, right? Unless you're a one trick, that can be kind of tough to get out because then you can just. It's almost like once you get further through the series, you don't need to ban as much, right? Because if they've already played, you know, the Rakan Zaya, as you say, you don't need to ban Zaya Rakan anymore. So you can then target your ban set to other things. So pocket picks or one tricks will be, you know, a little bit difficult to get through, but these kind of strange, like oddball picks the players have will definitely show their faces, which is exciting. Flex picks as well, a little bit more tricky to navigate in a Fearless Draft, right? Because if you've taken like a random example of like a Gragas, right, and you chucked him in top lane, well, your jungler can't play him anymore either, right? It's not limited to each role, each player. It's just you won't be able to use them at all. So, yes, it does definitely shake things up, make them a bit spicy, and in my opinion, it makes it more interesting as well. And I'm just excited. I think it kind of breaks the game down more to its fundamentals. You know, just skill checking people, running at them, and you know, the draft itself, it just gets a whole new twist to it. Very exciting stuff.
I absolutely adore it. I think it's very, very fun. We'll obviously see what the teams are going to be pulling out. I think the first game is going to be the one where you see the most meta picks. You know, I think like the Zeri were very kind of high priority, but like high priority is really bizarre because half the time it just means it shows up once and that's it, and then it's done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I expect to see things like that show up. Obviously, Jarvan was a major player in the games 2 weeks ago as well, so something like that can always be, up in the air. But like I was saying, the thing about picking, like, let's say you go like Diana jungle, like typically you want to pair that up with like a Yasuo or something, and the team like ban or take Yasuo away, then suddenly you can't pull that combo off anymore. Now, obviously, Diana Yasuo not particularly meta, but meta kind of falls out the window, like we've been saying, especially about like game 4, game 5 territory, because a lot of the meta heroes or champions have been taken up already, and any that are left over may be lacking like any serious synergy that makes them playable. There's I can't think of any all of my options I'm thinking of are Yasuo combos, but I mean, we had a Yone last 2 weeks ago. I think it was Fade he played the Yone, so it's not out the window that you see one of those edgy samurais show up. But any champion that maybe is good but requires other champions or certain kind of picks that pair well with it to really shine, suddenly like the ability to pull those out becomes even harder, because if you pick up, let's say, a Renekton, an old school kind of pairing up the Renekton's the Elise for that very early tower dive and the ability to reset that tower, the Elise, and just find that lockdown onto somebody underneath their tower. If someone picks up the Renekton or an Elise, on the other side, they can think about just picking up that Renekton, and then by like game 5, if it goes to that, they've only got one or the other left open because the other one's been taken away. It genuinely makes for some very fun stuff. Obviously, there are, like I said, a few people who've had thoughts on it online, but personally, I'd like to see more of Fearless. I'm really enjoying it. I think it makes for a way less. I don't want to use the word stale, because I think stale's a really. It's a bit of a. I think it's a bit too harsh of a word, but I think it makes for more creative play. I think it makes for more exciting games where it's not just I mean, how many years of Zeri? How many years of like Aphelios and stuff like. All of that, you don't really have to worry about that as much anymore, because it shows up maximum 2 games. And then half the time, by the time the AD carry pool starts to get trimmed out, a meta champion may just never show up because it's not picked for game 1, but then it's easier to ban for game 2 because another ADC has been taken away. And, it's a bit similar to like a one trick, is it's very easy to target out a certain champion and make sure it never sees the light of day for the enemy team.
Yeah, I think it's especially exciting for bot lane, right? Because exactly as you were talking about, synergies are, you've got to be very careful when you whack out the synergies. Like you can pick, let's say, you've got an Alistair that's good in a certain team comp and you want to pick it, but it's great with a different setup. Well, you kind of want to pick it this game, but it could potentially be even better later on. So are you holding it then? Are you not going to pick it? And especially in bot side, when you've got support ADC, the synergy there is really quite crucial. And it's where synergies probably show up the most, I guess, is between the support and ADC as far as picks go. And just the fact that ADC-wise, there's not a lot of champions in the ADC pool, right? There's maybe like 10, half a dozen, that kind of thing. Especially once you start considering who are actually strong and decent in the meta. Like there's just not a lot of ADC champs, so you can get some weird stuff going through in that bot side, and it's where like mages and stuff like that starts showing through. Like the Ziggs and the Karthuses and stuff like that. And so it really benefits the players that are able to have this diverse champion pool that can play not only different champions within the role, but honestly different styles, completely different styles as well, because you can't really get much different from like playing a Draven to playing Ziggs, right? They're just completely worlds apart. So whoever can pilot both of those oftentimes will get the benefit in the Fearless draft.
Yeah, and also when it comes to ADCs, like there's not that many ADCs, so it becomes to a point where like you're either like really on the D tier of ADCs, or you're like you said, playing mages, playing bruisers, and you kind of get that like that era, which I know a lot of AD carries hated, but I really enjoyed that meta, where bot lane was kind of like that trifecta between like bruisers, mages, ADCs. There was a lot of flexibility in that lane. I know every ADC right now is doing backflips of rage at the idea of that meta, but I loved the retired reckless meta where he couldn't play anything but Janna, so he just stopped playing for like a season.
Just gave up.
I mean, in a way, I don't blame him. The dude changed to like just to click with a mouse for years, and then suddenly he sees his keyboard. That's pretty confusing for him. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot more mages than there are ADCs. There's a lot more kind of room for those kind of mages. I guess the question is what viable mages are there in the bot lane? I don't know. We might get the old like Ivern and Rengar bot lanes as well. We're not going to get that. I mean, Ruddy are playing, to be fair, and Ruddy might pull They might pull some interesting stuff out. I mean, their support, for anyone who doesn't know, is Briefcase Man, who is a Mundo support one trick. I'm not gonna lie.
When I said that, by the way, that was
you
a joke.
trolling me? Did you troll me?
I said he was a. I looked at his name. I was like, well, he's a corporate Mundo one trick. I don't think he actually is.
I hate you so much, man. You literally. I said it on air. I trusted you.
I mean, we hope he's a corporate Mundo one trick with the name Briefcase Man. I did pull that out of thin air, so chances are that might not actually be true. I mean, it could be true at this point. It's a 50-50. Either it's true or it's not. So, you know. But, yeah,
I hate you so much, man. I trusted you. You were the chosen one. Oh.
You should know better, honestly.
I know. I just get trolled. The worst thing is I literally just like planted 10 toes on the ground and just said that with complete confidence to the
full
audience.
Chest.
Just, oh, God damn it. As you can tell, we have had ourselves a delay, online broadcast and all that. Not sure what the hell's going on, but we will get an update somewhat fairly soon, I hope, to find out what's going to be going on with our series, so we can get into this fearless draft. Looks like a few players were just delayed getting themselves together. I think got a little overslept. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so
yeah.
If you're oversleep,
honestly, the clocks went back yesterday, right, or the day before?
No, it's 5 o'clock, bro. In Europe, it's 6 o'clock as well.
I hear that. What I'm saying is maybe they're just an hour out of schedule. They're going to show up an hour late. That's what I'm saying.
True. I don't know where else has like daylight savings and stuff like that though.
It gets complicated.
Does all of Europe have it? Because I know like, we obviously in the UK we have it, but they're thinking about scrapping it. But I don't know what's going to happen with that.
A lot of mainland Europe has it as well at the same time. Like we're all synchronized.
Yeah,
America has it, but like a week or two after we have it, they don't have it at the same time.
Okay,
which is strange. Canada's the same as America, except there's like one province that doesn't do it. Yeah, so it's strange. It's very strange. It's going to get even stranger when places decide to start scrapping it. So here we go. Finally, we're in a picks and bans. The first ban is the Rengar. Rengar, you might think is not particularly meta champion, but if you've got a Rengar one trick on the enemy team and you're in fearless draft, the value of that champion and these kind of pocket picks really does start rising up. So that's going to be the first ban of our series.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to see the Syndra and the Cassiopeia banned away. Just as a note, Ruddy will be losing a ban in this game. They were a little bit late to check in, so hence why it took us so long to get into this game. But we are now getting ourselves ready for it, and we'll see what the rest of the bans are going to be looking like on this front. Expecting this to be a little bit more on the kind of meta side of things. So you do still have things like the Jarvan, which can show up in the jungle. Obviously, Zeri, still very strong, stupidly strong for some reason. But we are seeing a lot of attention on these kind of like AP mages, with the Oriana getting banned away here from the side of Ruddy. Now looking towards that final ban from the side of Verdant. Curious what they're going to look to take away.
Yeah, a lot of pinched pulls through the mid lane here as well. So obviously Ruddy not having that ban, it could mean that Verdant gets... Well, I just think a lot of attention being played towards the mid side here, and it will be a bit difficult for both these players to get the picks that they're desiring here. Oriana obviously is very, very popular right now in the meta. She's very strong, and she's one of the, she's a very solid blind pick, and she fits into a lot of team comp. So especially in fearless draft, where you're sometimes worried about your synergies and stuff like that, having a champion that's just a good all-round pick is just even more valuable. To slap that down. So that's going to get taken away. Not going to get picked, obviously, for this time around. It is going to be the Xayah for the first one here. So Verdant coming out the gate swinging. They're not holding on to any of the power picks, not holding on to any of the good bot laners and saying, we'll save that for later on into the series. Nope, they're going to get it out of the system early. Xayah is the first pick here for Verdant. Yeah,
but the side of Ruddy, if they pick up something like a Rakan here, obviously they deny themselves the Xayah Rakan later down the line, but they also deny that from Ruddy as being like a playable duo. But with the fact that they've locked in this Kai'Sa, I'm not particularly sold on if they're going to go for that Rakan. They could just go for the Nautilus, which is now tried and tested. Rakan's still fine. Obviously doesn't have the same levels of synergy as like the Naut Kai'Sa does, but I think the denial pick is more important to them here. So they're just going to take that away, give it over, and then kind of deny that Xayah Rakan power play as Verdant were looking to pick up something like a Jarvan. But I think with the fact that the Rakan's been denied, they kind of want to wait and see if there's a better opportunity to pick that Jarvan up later on in the series. So just thinking about potential other junglers, looks like they are going to toggle back though and lock in that Jarvan, deciding that they do want to make sure that they can start off with as powerful a draft as possible in this early game. And I'm expecting this to probably just be their support getting locked in. The Rel, pretty classic pick there. That is a very powerful first pick there for Verdant.
Yeah, and a lot of engage and go forward already from both of these comps. I love it. With the first 2 picks of the draft, the first 2 rounds of the draft, or the very first draft of our series here, you're already seeing the mind games of Fearless Draft, right? Because that Rakan being taken there isn't strict. I mean, it's good with Kai'Sa as well, but it's not strictly just for that, right? Both of these teams now will not be able to play Xayah Rakan. Xayah's been going to be used in one game for Verdant. They're not going to be able to pick that again. So they do have the Rakan available for them, but won't be able to pair it up for the Lovers duo. And likewise with Ruddy, they made that decision. Okay, we're denying Xayah Rakan. Enemy team's not going to be able to get it. But it also means we won't be able to get it. And it is that mind game element, which is so interesting, right? Because you could also argue if they do give Xayah Rakan over and then like, it's okay, we'll get it later down the line. Well, suddenly now Xayah Rakan becomes such a powerful ban for Verdant for the rest of the series. So they can then deny it, right? So it's crazy stuff, and yeah, just exciting already. Yes, we've got a lot of engage though coming through here with that Rel lock into Jarvan, Rel, Rakan, and Kai'Sa all want to go forward, and we'll see how the rest of the draft, what direction it continues to take.
Well, this is obviously Ruddy's final ban, so the Azir is their final ban, so they can't actually pick a ban up here. We'll see, though, what Verdant are going to look to go for as their final ban. Maybe just pinching that jungle pool a little bit more. Looking to play that kind of denial game here on that front. And trying to rack my brain, because obviously we've had the Rengar ban, we've had the Maokai ban, the Jarvan's taken away, the Nocturne's taken away. What else could they actually look to ban away here? I've had a brain fart on like meta junglers at the moment.
Well, if 99 plays Lee Sin, I want to see that one be sat down. That's actually come up in the meta recently as well. But you have to be a very confident Lee Sin player to bring out Lee Sin. Like, he's not easy to pilot still. And to be honest, when you've got like Akali plus Lee Sin, I think it's a little bit tough. I'd like to have some kind of like hard CC here, maybe like a Sejuani or something along those lines. Would be nice. I think another kind of skirmishy, tough, like assassin style 1v1 champion is Greedy here. If they actually do decide to lock in that Kha'Zix, it genuinely is going to be Kha'Zix, which I am surprised at, but is definitely showing a lot of confidence here for Ruddy. And again, this kind of fearless thing coming through, like it enables you to pick things like Kha'Zix, because you do know later on into the game, or into the series, you're going to be a little bit strapped for picks if you do go full meta right here. I just think Akali and Kha'Zix is a really weird like pairing, a little bit interesting here, and there's so much CC on the side of Verdant. Like, it's so hard to play these style of champions with all that CC. So yeah, but a lot of confidence already here from Ruddy.
Yeah, well, I mean, Verdant, honestly, they're just getting really solid picks. They got the Nico locked in, so much engaged, so much team fight. If they do decide to lock that in as their final pick, pretty comfortable in the top lane, like not too many really, really rough matchups. They are actually going to move away from that and lock in the Rumble. Obviously, you got the Hot Pot when you can get the Jarvan ult down and just cook them with the Rumble R.
The Hot Pot, love that.
The problem I do worry is that maybe they're a little AP heavy. Obviously, you've got Xayah basically is your only real AD threat, because Jarvan's more tanky than he is like an AD threat. So if they blow up Flicker, they've got double assassins to do so. It may be a little bit hard, but I guess the other argument is Ruddy don't really have any frontline right now. They are going to lock in an Ornn, so they do have someone who can build and itemize for this magic resist and the survivability. But the Kha'Zix, the Akali, the Xayah, and the Rakan, all very easy to pop, and especially with the amount of AoE damage, AoE lockdown, and CC that the side of Verdant have. As much as I voted this to be a 3-0 for Ruddy, this is going to be one hell of a hard first game, because Verdant have just given themselves all of the tools to kind of execute a really easy team fight and be able to kind of punish Ruddy on their picks.
I honestly do think, I agree with you, like it's very difficult to pilot this Ruddy comp here. There's so much crowd control, and anytime you're playing these like squishy style assassins, crowd control just ends you. But also on top of that, it's a lot of forward motion coming through from Ruddy. You know, they want to jump in with Kha'Zix, they want to jump in with Akali, even Kai'Sa, Rakan, or everything is going forward. And if you go forward into the team of Verdant, you know, like you will be punished for getting close to them. You know, the low range punish here is absolutely insane. Like Nico ulti, you know, Rumble slapping down that stuff as well. If you get caught in Jarvan ults and whatnot, like it's actually just really gross. And you have to find the perfect window. And instead, if you get into 5v5s, if you're Ruddy, you're in trouble. So you're looking for picks instead. You got Akali, you got Kha'Zix, you can make picks happen, like with Rakan and things like that as well. Like it's certainly possible, but that's definitely what Ruddy's going to have to look for. Try and get that advantage in the early game. Look for picks and kind of snowball for that, and just hope that it never gets to a point where it's a 5v5 and where you're even and dancing around objectives, because that is not going to end well for you at all.
Yeah, I feel like the main play here for Ruddy is definitely set up vision so you can have those flanks, because Kha'Zix and Akali, fantastic when they can get behind the enemy team and surprise assassinate a player and then get away. It's going to be kind of like, it's going to be almost like guerrilla warfare tactics, isn't it, from Ruddy, where they're just going to use the jungle as a place to kind of play with that fog of war and find those kills. But I mean, we are talking about Verdant, who were one of the top teams in the league last season, made it into that top 4 position. And I mean, for real, my concern is, you know, a team like this should understand how to use their wards, how to cover their flanks, and make sure that they don't just have an Akali appear out of nowhere behind them. So, again, very hard to execute from the side of Ruddy. We'll see, you know, if this is just them going for a hands check and seeing if they can just outskill the Verdant players, or if maybe they're, like you said, trying to save up some of those more meta picks to later on in the series. But my concern is, if you get to game 4 or 5 and you haven't picked meta picks, it's going to be very easy to ban those meta picks away as Verdant, because you don't only get one ban on a champion. You can continuously ban a like Zeri all series long if you wanted. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the game plan is going to be, as we are on to the Rift for our first game of the day.
Oh gosh, Verdant have Nile and Snille. Oh gosh, that's going to be... Have fun with that one, Jake. Yes, it's going to be an interesting one here already. We're just starting off first game of the series. Ruddy here with their more interesting team comp, which to be honest, is mostly because of the Kha'Zix being thrown in, right? Kha'Zix, Akali especially. Kha'Zix, you can see already with the Conqueror build, is probably looking to a slightly tankier build here. I would say, like, I mean, you never want to be tanky on Kha'Zix, right? You know, you don't pick him to go a build like you would go with Sejuani or something like that. But maybe things like the Black Cleaver and the Spirit Origin and Death Stance and these kind of stuff. Otherwise, as we mentioned during the draft, it's going to be very difficult to navigate these team fights unless you can find those picks and assassinate targets. But again, on Verdant's side, who are you focusing? Who are you assassinating? Not a lot of good targets here, so we might get a first start.
It's very hard to kill Flicker by 6, isn't it? Actually, even if you get through, like all of the crowd control and all of like the Verdant members, they just press R, like eat your combo up with their R.
It's like the only target is Xayah if you're Rakan, if you're Kha'Zix, or any assassin really, if you're Akali too. And she's very good at dealing with those style of champions with her ulti, with the Feather Storm, but also she's got exhaust. So, you know, there's just a lot of ways to deny that. So it's just difficult, honestly. If I was in solo queue and I was playing this Kha'Zix, I'd just be like, what have I done? I've just set myself up for extreme disappointment here. But it's always jungle diff, so that's fine.
As an assassin player, there is no worse feeling than Xayah with exhaust. I actually think that might be my least favorite thing to try and play into, because so how do you one-shot them? They like block half your combo, and then when you're on cooldowns, or like you get your cooldowns back, you get exhausted, and it's just like 2 rounds of cooldowns just gets burnt into nothing. As Natty Nat gonna be on his wolves, as Snille looks to just be getting this blue buff for free. There's not really gonna be any contest here from Ruddy, and nice pathing actually early coming in from Snille to get himself that kill. And are they waiting for the kill? Briefcase Man has been spotted out, so Natty Nat should be aware that Snille is in the area. We'll see him making his way out. Is aware that he has lost his blue though, and that little counter jungle gonna pay dividends there for Snille. He's still got his entire top side to clear, but once Natty Nat's done this Grump and maybe the crab, that's gonna be it. But looks like Snille's actually waiting for him to try and deny the crab, and then just have the top side of the jungle to free farm for himself as well.
Yeah, and also a little bit of protection comes through with this move as well, right? Like if you have eyes on Kha'Zix and you're playing aggressive into the bot side jungle, if you're Verdant here, Then you're pushing lanes, which are, Flicker, FTG, and Aurora. Basically, everything on the bot side of the map is pushing towards Ruddy. You're there to protect them and to keep them safe. You don't want to lose any of this pressure that you're able to acquire for yourselves in this lane by just having like a cheeky little jungle play. So Java doing good to hover around there. Natinat will get this top crab as a bit of a consolation prize, really, but he's still going to be down that blue buff and going to be finding himself a little bit behind in this early jungle clear.
There's no way he's going for an invade. No, he pops the Squire just to get some vision. Can't really go for the gank onto Nilly as well because there's a ward in that bush, so you can see where it's going on. Will spots Nilly out on the blue, sorry. Maybe looking for the assassination. He has the level advantage over him. He's going to jump in and try and see if he can find some damage onto him. But FGG has roamed over. He's got himself the blue, but all of the CC's coming in. Natinat jumps away. He's actually just on the run with the Ignite burning down. Still got his flash, but nowhere really for him to go. Just going to try and pull some time. Get some damage onto Snille. Snille misses the knockup, but finds first blood. Easy as you like. Wonderful roam there from FGG. That's a pretty rough start there.
Yeah, that sucks for Natinat. He got the blue buff, so, hashtag worth, I guess, maybe in chat, but not really. Good roam by FGG, but that play was just doomed from the start. Like, you had... Your Nico in mid lane was pushing really hard, so Nico could have easily collapsed right there. Rumble as well. I mean, Shihan recalled as Natinat went for that invade. Like, there was just no real good outcome for that at all. Like, he'd have to just do like a hit and run, jump away. I don't know. It was wishful thinking there from Natinat. He does get punished. That will be first blood over to Snille, who so far in this game here with his moves and his pathing in the jungle has definitely had a good show of things here and got that advantage for Verdant.
Yeah, had a really good start on that front as Cronin. Feeling the fun of a Nico lane is not fun. That Q is so hard to dodge. It's not impossible to dodge. It's such a quick missile. No, the Q.
The pop blossom. You can move out of it, I guess, but yeah.
The initial pop with Airy. Oh.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Honestly, it is difficult, and you're playing a melee champion, right? So it's even harder for you to find ways to dodge these skill shots.
Yeah, it's a very rough one. Like you won't eat like the second pop unless you're like really badly positioned. But that initial one, it just like you slowly get whittled down by it with the Airy. It's very, very annoying to play into. It's going to teleport. Actually, no, they're not going to teleport. They're actually going to cancel their base and catch this wave as Dragon gets secured here on the side of Verdant. Natinat once again, potentially just getting 2-man, has been spotted out by the flag. Briefcase Man comes over to make sure, but Natinat not going to get himself caught on this jungle, although does not see the pink ward on their blue, which is really, really rough for them, actually. But they are consistently going to be spotted out in there until somebody goes over and takes that ward out. And right now, the gold lead sitting 1,000 in the favor of Verdant over the side of Ruddy, and Shinyan charges over, but has to go for the flash away. All it's going to take is one more harpoon. Flash by Nilly. Secures himself the solo kill top.
Beautiful first kill in the top side of the map here for Nilly. I mean, if you've been watching any of the NLC, then you know Nilly just does this. He is constantly being rated as one of our best top laners that we have in the scene, and here he is doing it again. Early on, it's not going to make a huge difference whether or not you can kill an Ornn. Ornn should still be able to play relatively safe. Get a follow-up kill here. No flash on Nilly. Yeah,
they jump in with a flash forward. Natinat still got his W to chase in. May have to use it. He doesn't have it. He's tilted. He's tilted.
He's beyond tilted. Oh, no. Oh, you hate to see it. You absolutely hate to see it. That is tragedy right there for Ruddy.
Where did he use his W?
I think he jumped over the Baron wall, I think, to avoid vision. I think that's what happened there. I don't know. He only had flash. Like, I don't know. That just sucks. And yeah, I don't know. There's nothing else to say. That is just really tragic. That is terrible. 2 deaths now for Natinat. 2 kills for Nilly. It's looking rough here for Ruddy.
Yeah, very rough start to this game here for the side of Ruddy. Even their bot lane really feeling the pressure. This is the power. This is the problem when you pick up something like this Kha'Zix. If you're unable to have any impact on the map, the Jarvan just gets to be a complete threat wherever he goes. Has a lot more kind of ability to enable and set up his team. While the Kha'Zix, kind of a selfish jungler, someone who just wants to get the gold and one-shot enemy carries, but like we said, very hard to one-shot any of these carries. Nika gets the shield on her ultimate plus the crowd control. Rumble just has like a ridiculous amount of damage, and then obviously the Zaya's just very safe, especially when you've got the exhaust and the ultimate to keep you safe. And Ruddy, just without any pressure, have picked up a champion who really requires their team to be able to enable them to play. And Natty Nat is just getting caught in their jungle, is able to jump away to safety, but they're still going to be losing their topside jungle for all of this.
Yeah, and this is not difficult for Shihan to exist as well, because the risk of a dive is quite prominent here. I mean, he's tanky, but at this stage, he's not really that tanky. He's got Balmy Cinder and a Negatron Cloak. He will be at risk here if FGG decides to join as well. I don't think Verdant should go for this dive. I think they're just going to leave it out instead. But you're very right in what you're saying before. You know, there's a lot of... This Kha'Zix pick does need more attention onto him, is more selfish, wants more gold. It's one of the reasons why you don't really see him that much in professional play. He's a great solo queue champion when you can be selfish. But in professional play, a little bit tricky, and playing as an assassin difficult as well. Flicker now going to get caught. Probably just have to pop his ult and run away.
Yep, there's the ult. He actually may be able to find the damage with the E on the to Adbayor, but Adbayor very low HP, and Flicker just out-traded 2 versus 1 when one of those was a Kha'Zix.
Yeah.
Oh, ADCs. You've had fun for too long.
remove AD. You're
Remove
not a
their
block player.
role.
What are you talking about? You live off of AD. They're just walking 300 gold coin purses for LeBlancs.
No, they're not anymore. LeBlanc is garbage, even after the buffs, man. Xinyan, that's sad. That's sad. That's a tank getting absolutely melted by just the pen boots.
Yeah.
Yes, LeBlanc existence is sad, by the way. It just does no damage. Oh,
I mean, I'll take your word for it, but I also... Have you considered you might just be bad at the game this year?
Well, I'll admit that, yes, but... You know, after all of the static shiv buff nerfs, and then even with the AP buffs she just got, static shiv is still the best item you can build on her, because all you do is clear waves. It is sad.
Yeah, that's always been a weakness, right? She couldn't clear waves, so...
Yes.
But yes. Something I wanted to take note of in this game specifically, though, since there is no LeBlanc here. Nile getting really fed is not just disastrous because Nile is a great player, and 2 kills on Rumble is not nice, full stop, but it's especially irritating and bad news specifically for Ruddy this game, because he's the king of low-range combat, right? As far as mages go and these style of champions, like, Rumble wants you to be in his face. Like, he's so good at that. His abilities are all about low range. Even his overheat, you know, he has mechanics that he wants to auto attack you with, right? Not just low range, literally smack you about with auto attacks. You know, you do not want to be giving this guy 2 kills when your entire team comp is low range, wants to be jumping in there, wants to be getting into your face. So it's a tough one, and I think honestly this Rumble pick is very smart from Verdant, an absolute disaster for Ruddy to give this guy early kills. It is not looking good right from the get-go here.
Yeah, and it's just a bunch of plates taken in the mid lane as well, which is going to be even rougher here for Ruddy. So, this tower, once it falls, any pressure they have to be able to get gold onto Natty Nat just becomes so much less impactful. As Natty Nat, he's 2 levels down. It'd be so hard for him to go for that gank. As he's trying to find some jungle camps to pick up. He's going to be able to deny the wolf camp away. Obviously got the Tiamat, so does clear relatively fast. And Snilly will reveal themselves fairly soon, so you know he's going to get full clear of this topside jungle. But Ruddy needs to be very careful their positioning, as while Natty Nat is going for an invade himself, he's losing his blue side jungle in response to Snille. Snille just has a good read on where he is. I think with all the vision going down there, they know that Natty Nat is going to be able to get away with this one. And yeah, he's able to actually clear away that topside jungle pretty much for free. No real punish comes in on that.
Yeah, and he's finally got his first item here. This mythic, well, it's not even mythic, is it? It's legendary, but his first item done here with the Ravenous Hydra. It's quite nice for Kha'Zix, honestly. It allows him to keep up as far as clear speeds go, because he has really terrible AoE clears, and so having that Tiamat, which he had early, and then with the Ravenous as well, lots of sustain, so he shouldn't have any issues clearing now. He's much more competitive on that front. It's just whether or not, you know, at this point in the game, you know, you're 13 minutes in, lane phase is about to sort of end. Do you really have full control of your jungle? I'm not sure he'll be able to just farm as much as he wants to. with how much pressure Verdant are able to put onto Ruddy right now, and there's no real answer for Ruddy either. It's very, very difficult right here. He has to get those stacks up as well. That's going to be tricky to do. 2 dragons in favor of Verdant. It's a tough one. It says that a Infernal is spawning, but is that true?
I think it's
in the
Hextech.
ocean?
It's Hextech.
Yeah, they've got gates. You're right.
Yeah.
It's Hextech, yeah.
Whenever it says it's a different dragon that's already been taken, it's always Hextech because there's that
always
weird bug
Hextech,
of Hextech.
okay. Gotcha, it's Hextech, yeah, sure. So either way, Hextech is a fantastic dragon to get on Soul as well. So it's tough. It's really running away from Ruddy so far. 4,000 gold at 14 minutes is very, very difficult to overcome.
I genuinely think Hextech is the best Soul Verdant can get their hands onto because, like you said, they're a very low range comp here from Ruddy. So then adding those slows makes those gap clears just even harder. Snilly actually maybe looking for Natty Nat's jungle camps here. He doesn't have Smite, and Snilly does. So that's going to be that one denied. And Snilly able to pick up that entire camp as Sheehan loses half of their HP underneath their tower. Ruddy really struggling on this one. Snilly maybe looking for the interrupt onto Natty Nat, is able to find it. The Sheehan gets some damage off onto Snilly, but it's hard. It's really hard here for Sheehan to be able to play this because he could just easily be dove at this point with that equalizer, with that hot pot combination. But it looks like Herald is going to be the attention right now for the side of Snilly.
It's just, they just take everything. Verdant literally have nothing to stop them at this point. They walk so deep into Ruddy's jungle. They bully Natty Nat off of his Krugs. They're able to take whatever objectives they want. You know, credit to Natty for, you know, he this is maybe the 2nd or 3rd time I think he's been clearing Snilly's bot side jungle. Like, he gets it. He gets where he's meant to be going here. And we might actually have a play because we do have a Carly coming down as well.
Yeah, Flicker, they know he's there. They've got that exhaust ready to fire down. W comes in and they are going to throw everything down. Flicker goes in for the reset to get out, but Natty Nat's able to find himself a kill. They trade out 1 for 1. In comes the teleport though. Natty Nat's in danger. The Pop Blossom comes down and he is toasted. 2 for 1 in favor of Verdant. But honestly, I think Ruddy might be happy with getting at least 1 kill on the board there.
Yeah, well, that is, mate, we're 50 minutes into the game and you're already huffing deep on the coastline. That is a bad sign. It is 2 for 1 in the end of the day for Verdant. Trying to make a proactive play was Ruddy, and it's just, I mean, this is, we said this, how there's just no good assassination target, and Zaya's just such a pain in the backside, right? If you're looking to pick him out of position. Because she pops the Blade Caller and that's that, or the Feather Storm, sorry, and that's that, right? It's done so. Like, she just buys sometimes. It's like having another Zhonya's. She uses the flash as well. And to be fair, I will give Flicker a lot of credit there. The way he played that, he was able to root Adebayor under the tower. It was like a really, really nicely done.
Oh, they're looking for this?
Trade back.
Nope, they're not.
Nearly
they were
has
thinking
ult
about
still. Still got the red carpet. I don't think you want to fight this if you're Ruddy against Rumble ulti. I really don't think you want to fight this.
Yeah, Pop Blossom's down, and so is Flicker's ultimate. But Flicker still has that exhaust. Didn't use it. Kind of recognized that they were just going to get sacrificed as they are going to throw everything down. Flicker's found themselves knocked up. They get all of the damage down onto him, and instantly Sheehan finds the kill. Errol's putting some damage down in response as Natty Nat's coming in on the flank. FGG loses a lot of HP, but Natty Nat was not in position to contest that. And that dragon most likely will just be going down as Errol finds himself the assassination onto Adebayor. And I think Ruddy was just a little bit too eager. They pulled the trigger before Natty was in position. And they lose out on the dragon and a bunch of kills there.
It was a trigger that didn't want to be pulled. Really, absolutely not. Like, this team comp is so good at fighting in close spaces. The zone control that you get from a Jarvan ulti, from a Rumble ulti, when Rumble's this fed as well, it's absolutely just gross. And, you know, Flicker kind of trolled it a little bit, not gonna lie. And the fact he didn't have his ult up, his position there was pretty naff, honestly, and he did go down quite early. And that was, you know, I mean, I want to say it made the play look better for Ruddy, but the play did not look good even despite that, right? It was just... It was really, really rough, and there really wasn't something good.
He is in a bad position.
He is very much out.
Oh,
yeah,
no, don't worry.
Chilling.
He's
Rakan's
Rakan.
vibing. Yeah, he's he's Rakan. How silly of us to forget that.
That champion is he's very hard to pin down. I mean, Zaya and Rakan, they're kind of that's their MO, isn't it? The ability to just not get caught. As Are we seeing a potential play here by Verdant? They're going to come in with the Cataclysm. Briefcase Man comes in. Lovely ult out. They get the two-man knock-up. Here's the Pop Blossom. What a wombo. Double kill. Picked up for Errol. Sheehan's coming in. Natty Nat trying to avoid, trying to not find himself caught, but he's losing way too much HP. Cronin trying to find some additional damage, but Natty unable to really do much of anything here other than just slow. Cronin finds an assassination and a shutdown, but he does get taken out in response. Knockup comes in from Sheehan, and Ruddy limp away from another team fight with Verdant just slammed them for.
Oof, I mean, you did kill the jungler for Ruddy at least, so that should put a little bit of a damper here. I was going to say it means you shouldn't be able to take Nash. We're 90 minutes into the game. Like, what on earth is that? This game is just... The way the Verdant are playing this, like the way they have access, like look at the vision on the mini map. Look at all of it. Look at where they've been able to move and the amount of control they've had of the entire map, of this game as a whole. I can't believe we're not even 20 minutes into it. Like, it's absolutely absurd. Look at those. Look at it. It's lit up like a Christmas tree, man. It's absolutely gross. There's 5, 6 wards if you include the one in Tribush. 4 in the enemy topside jungle. Absolutely hideous stuff. But good news for Verdant. Very bad news for Ruddy. And I just expect more of the same, you know, especially now Nilly has his TP up. Just playing around this Nash here. And just trying to force Ruddy into more bad fights. It's working out for you.
Yeah, Ruddy, like you said, like we kind of highlighted, have picked a comp which doesn't really want to be walking into Verdant, and Verdant are just letting them walk into them as Sheehan finds himself caught out, doesn't have that W on time, and he is toasted. No way he's going to be able to survive that one. Well, the Herald up in the top side as well. They are looking to just take this tier 2 tower. They may even be able to get a charge onto the inhib tower because it actually looks like Ruddy just aren't even going to bother rotating over till it's way too late. Very, very slow on the play. Now, Cronin does have their teleport available, and there are some flank wards available to them. So there may be a world for Ruddy to try and go for a flank play. But it's feeling a little bit too little. It's feeling a little bit too late. As the charge comes down, another tower goes in. Still he finds himself knocked up, losing a lot of HP. Actually, a serious amount of HP. Cronin trying to get the additional damage off. He's gone in onto the flank, using that Zhonya's. Has himself the ultimate to dash out after this is all said and done. There's the double kill for Ruddy. Adbayor able to find one. Natty comes in with a slowdown. Errol caught out, and a beautiful sacrifice there by Briefcase Man. Here comes the cow man. Sheldon a little bit too overeager on that front as they are just popped.
Okay. Verdant really, I don't know, man. They went way too far forward there. Snille was got caught out, blown up instantly. I mean, that build there, the Gordrinker Cleaver, it's a good bruiser build, but certainly not as tanky as you might like it to be an Errol. Uh-oh. Yeah. That's going to be a free kill. Or is it? I think
no, wait, no. He's dead. He's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead. You can't dodge Nico Q. I swear. It's such a fast-moving missile.
Is that just Nash now then? You can see the pings coming down from it as well.
Yeah, I think that probably
it's got to be. It's got to be here for Verdant.
Oh,
Big purple worm should fall down here. Enough damage for it as well, just between Rumble and the Jarvan's eyes coming through. Bit slow, but she will come through. Can Nana get the steal? That's all this is going to be. There'll be no fights. Maybe a hero play.
He's got to get through SGG and Errol to get in. And they're just zoning. They're just hard zoning. There it goes. Verdant played that really, really well, actually, using their 2 scariest CC members to kind of make sure that Natty Nat can't even try the Miracle Steal.
Yeah, and the risk of that Miracle Steal as well is you guaranteed lose Dragon Soul, right? Because that's what's up now. If Natty Nat was dead here because he went for Nash, even if he gets the Nash and steals it, which is very unlikely, but even if he does,
his damage is so low.
Hextech for sure.
Yeah, he didn't even tickle Snille there.
It's just doomed. You can't. Yeah. You have to contest this, I guess, but you can't. So I don't know.
They're going to try for it, but I think it's going to be a little bit too little, a little bit too late. And the Pop Blossom is pretty big. I say pretty big. 2 members already down. Natty jumps over the wall of safety, but Snilly is actually looking to chase him down. Ultimate pops as he has found himself isolated. Ruddy on the run away from Errol with the Hextech Soul. It's just so hard to escape. Down goes Natty and Ruddy. They're going to be thinking about game 2 now, thinking about what they need to change. I can tell you don't pick 2 assassins. That's going to be the big thing.
Yeah, well, they won't have the opportunity to pick Kha'Zix at least anymore.
True.
That is now taken off the board in our Fearless draft. A really, honestly clean game from Verdant. I think right from the get-go, they had the pushes in the lanes, in mid and in bot. And Snille used that really, really wisely to get some invades in the bot side jungle, putting that in that behind right from the get-go. We might have a fight. I don't know, though. Ruddy trying to claw something into this game. Not going to happen.
That's very hard to pull off. They don't even have their jungler right now. As Briefcase Man on the run, taken down. Adbayor going unbelievably low. Snille comes in for the chase onto him, but Adbayor actually able to survive that and get away. Meanwhile, Cronin just being a nuisance on the side, trying to avoid it himself. Caught as down goes Natty, down goes Sheenan, and Cronin as well will be quick on the menu. Double kill picked up for the side of Flicker. And Verdant, this is just not even close. It's an absolute slamming for game number 1. As Ruddy just get absolutely destroyed. Very greedy draft came and bit them really bad there. 22 kills to 6 over to Verdant. Disgustingly fast game.
Almost a kill a minute for one team. Not for the entirety of the game, just for one team. 24-minute game, 22 kills for Verdant. It did look very difficult to play out right from draft for Ruddy, and watching the game actually play out, it looked very difficult. It was, I don't know, they didn't really set themselves up for too much success here. But hey, it's a best of 5, right? This is your warm-up game. So I'm sure Ruddy's just, going to pick themselves up, get a bit of a pep talk from Don Jake there, and just say, so whatever, this is the first one, we're just testing the waters, just warming up. They were late to the game anyway, so maybe they had to finish their, I don't know, whatever they were doing. They're playing FIFA or something.
They were still in solo queue mode, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out. That was a very one-sided game. I'm hoping we have a more competitive series. I want to see some more of these bizarre drafts. Maybe not just that many assassins and no CC. We'll find out. Anyway, we're going to throw ourselves over for a quick break, and then we'll be back with game 2. See you in a moment. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NLC Aurora Open. We are getting ready to go into our second game of the day, which Verdant absolutely slammed Ruddy. Like, that was not a close game. Obviously, I think there's various drafting issues going into that, but I also do think there was just a lot of mistakes coming in from the side of Ruddy in this game. For me, I felt like, they were not playing around the fact that they didn't have any lane pressure. I will say, though, of all the people, as much as I want to be critical for him picking the Kha'Zix, I think Natty did a pretty good job of actually being able to counter invade and safely secure himself farm. He wasn't actually down. He was actually up in CS to Snilly. The gold difference kind of came from the kills and the impact that Snilly was able to have on the map. But I will give that as my kind of like my silver lining to Ruddy after that game. But other than that, it was a pretty terrible draft, and it kind of came full circle and got them quite badly in that one.
Yeah, I think as well with Natty, like he had that kind of greedy invade that got him killed, which kind of sucked, and really unfortunate play on Nilate, remember, where he tried to kill him and got killed himself. So
yeah,
it just nothing works really. Nothing worked for Ruddy. That is absolutely 100% a game where you just say go next, forget about that. It's whatever it happened, and you move on. And hopefully in game number 2 it will be a little bit better for them. As a reminder, we are obviously in fearless draft mode, which means that you can't play the same champions you've already played. So no more Nile Rumble, no more Nico. We'll see the Jarvan's taken away. To be honest, there's quite a lot of power picks, I would say, from the side of Verdant that have been eliminated now. Verdant will not be able to play these champions, and that's the silver lining for Ruddy, because I do think, like, as far as general meta strength goes of the draft, Verdant had the advantage. So maybe now things will turn into Ruddy's favor.
Yeah, well, I guess we will find out once we get into the game. Gonna be excited to see what the picks and bans are gonna look like. As you can see along the top of your screens right now, we have game 1's picks. So for the side of Verdant, none of those picks are available. For the side of Ruddy, none of those picks above us are available. So we'll see what the options are going to be, what they're going to look towards here. But Cassiopeia, once again, getting banned away by Ruddy. They put a lot of attention on this cast to kind of deny Errol, this champion, while the Rengar being denied from Natty Nat. To me, what that says is Natty's definitely a player who likes to play these more greedy assassin junglers. I worry that if that's going to be the trend of him, that could be the problem here for Ruddy, is them not really having people who can enable and set them up. Jarvan gets banned away. Obviously, Verdant can't play it, so they just put it as a denial here for Ruddy. And I feel like that might just be a solid ban for the rest of the series here now from the side of Verdant, just to take away from that jungle pool and deny Natty from ever being able to play that one.
There's no value in leaving it open, because it's not like you can trade it as a power pick anymore, because you've already used it. Same for this Xayah here, right? If you've picked these power picks already and you've ticked them off the boxes so that you can't play them anymore, it's not like, let's say we'll leave Xayah, Jarvan, and let's say Orianna open. Ruddy will pick one. We'll take the other 2 on red side. You can't do that. You're literally not allowed to pick these champions anymore. So you can't play those kind of handshakes in draft anymore. You have to just ban these things away. And I do think it's smart, like, play those power picks early and then start banning them away. We might see something similar with this Orianna, which was banned in last game, now picked up by Ruddy for Cronin in that mid lane. And as games move on in the series, potentially a similar deal happening here with Orianna bans coming through from Ruddy. It's going to be the Nocturne and Azir. Wow, instantly answered out here into the Orianna. Nocturne has gained a little bit more popularity, but still, that is it's a very confident first lock in here for Verdant.
I mean, it was banned last game. There's the whole Nocturne Nico thing, which is really scary because you kind of can't see the Nico coming with the Pop Blossom when the lights go out. Very, very solid little combo. That does show up occasionally, but obviously Nico picked by Verdant in the last game does leave this combo open potentially for the future from the side of Ruddy, but they're just going to pick themselves up the Graves again. Though Graves less greedy and less selfish than something like a Kha'Zix, but is definitely a champion who
Still
plays more
greedy.
for himself. Yeah. It's very much not a champion which plays for the team and enables the team. So I do see this as maybe a little bit of a worrying trend here from Natty, who seems to kind of play these more farm orientated or like solo carry orientated junglers. As Ruddy now looking towards Briefcase Man is going to pick up the Alistair. It's not the Mundo, sadly. They do pick up that one, and we'll see what the final pick is going to be here for the side of Verdant. I expect this to probably be a support or an ADC here, but I think with the support pool already getting picked, looking to try and deny that could be a big one. And Alistair, obviously, very famously, not really much of a champion at level 1. So Verdant locking in something maybe he can just handle and kind of bully early in this game.
Yeah, you want something a bit tankier, I think, here, so that Alistair has a hard time engaging in bot lane. Someone that can, walk up to Alistair if he's looking at your ADC funny and actually provide some measure of peel for your ADC and not just let Alistair do what he wants to do. I think really what the important thing is here for the draft from Ruddy is to make sure you get a little bit more lane priority, a little bit more going on from the push at a bot side and mid specifically, because Graves, and we saw it from Kha'Zix in the first game, and we will see it from Graves this game as well. If his lanes are pushed in, he'll get invaded. Nocturne will have no problem doing that at all. And if that happens, then he's not. If you're disturbing Graves in his jungle, he won't be able to farm up and be selfish and get all of the resources that he wants, which means he won't ever really come online and be a factor in this game, because all he really provides is damage, right? It's another low range damage style character. So certainly something to bear in mind here for Ruddy. You want to get a little bit more pressure coming through from those lanes. And I think Verdant know that as well with his Ashe ban specifically. I think is certainly a powerful combo, Ashe Alistair. Ashe by herself often provides a lot of prio, so a lot of these kind of long-range ADCs getting taken away right here. Kai'Sa obviously not being able, like Ruddy can't pick Kai'Sa, they already did that in game number 1. This bot lane is heavily pinched here. 4 ADCs being taken away already, which is like, what, 90% of ADC champion pools in League of Legends, so it's going to be, it's going to be tough for these bot lanes to kind of get that bot lane that they want in this game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as we move down the line, expect this to kind of be a bigger problem here. As Flicker just instantly locking in the Draven. That is a challenge right now thrown down. Ruddy, the question is what are they going to look towards here? Obviously, you've got things like the Sivir, which I guess can kind of just play at range versus the Draven. But I mean, early you're going to get shoved in because Sivir doesn't really. She needs a couple of items before she can kind of just fully control the waves. I guess you just want to play someone who can play away from the Draven. The question for me is, what are they going to go for? So they do actually just go for that Sivir. Also, powerful in the sense that it can enable the Graves to close those gaps and actually jump into the fight. You've obviously got the Alistair who can get sped up and then deliver the Orianna ball, the old school ball delivery system. I definitely favor what Ruddy put together more than their first game. I do still see some issues with this. Obviously, first of all, they don't really have a front line other than like an ulting Alistair. I expect Sheehan to probably just try and play the side lanes here and be a menace in the side lanes. Obviously, Jack still has some teamfight capabilities compared to other split pushes because he can jump in and helicopter on top of people. But yeah, I think overall, this definitely feels more of a fair draft than what we had in Game 1. Game 1 just felt like Verdant just completely outdrafted Ruddy. I'd be curious to your thoughts on this and where you feel that, like, if this favors one team more than the other.
Yeah, I think I'm still giving the edge to Verdant on the draft, but I agree with you that it's certainly I'm not kind of raising my eyebrows in the same way that was in the first game. It's still a selfish jungler and a meta where I'm just not really convinced those junglers are the best style to pick. And also in this game specifically, Sheehan did have to blind pick against Nile, and I just think, in the NLC, like, some players just are something else, and Nile is one of those players, right? And I just don't think you ever want to be in a position where you're forced to blind pick against him. So Nile was able to get that counter pick with that last pick going for the Gragas, which I think is quite interesting just in general, because it means now that you, in future games, you won't be able to play Gragas as a jungler either. Although having said that, I don't think anyone's played Gragas jungle in time, so maybe that's not even relevant, to be honest. But yeah, I think you've got some clear lanes that you want to play through. If you're Verdant, obviously that Draven Braum, you've got to try and get going here. You've got to try and protect them as well. Nocturne, not the most proactive jungler early game, does lack agency, but still very strong. Still can fight, still can do bits, but not always got the best, definitely doesn't have the best setup to make it happen. So little bits and bobs there to pay attention to. And for Ruddy, obviously, really looking to bounce back into this game. A lot of scaling. You don't want to fall too far behind early, and then instead, you wait for your Sivir to come online, you wait for your Orianna to enable your carries, Graves comes online, Jax comes online, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the main thing right now is obviously the Sivir, a champion very famous for having kind of that 3-item breakpoint where she really becomes powerful. Draven, on the other hand, spikes of a BF sword, then spikes of a completed item after that. Draven, I wouldn't say, like, he does scale pretty hard. Like, it's always an upward trajectory in the sense where, like, every item is great for him. Obviously, the issues with Draven is, drops an axe, damage could drops off the back of that. They have tools to be able to kind of enable him to drop axes. You have the Alice, you have the Orianna. Even the Jax being able to eat up some of those empowered auto attacks will be things that will be able to pay dividends. But the problem is early, he should have way more pressure in the lane than Addy is going to have. Should just be able to kind of keep this bot lane kind of to his whim. When you've got the Braum and the Draven, like, Alistair Sivir is just going to be catching whatever farm they can get. And, 1 or 2 kills, 1 or 2 good dives that comes in from Snille, that could be enough just to really slow down the Sivir spike to the point where, you start to get a little bit concerned going later on into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be a game of survival early here for Ruddy. And I still have question marks about the lane pro here for their team. Like, I think Verdant should be able to get pushes in most of the lane, especially when you've got Hail of Blades on Azir to help you with your trades. There is absolutely no vision, no protection here for Natty. He's going to get caught out. There's the flash, no follow-up, but it's enough to completely ruin his early game, and that's exactly what Verdant looking to do, and they've done it successfully. Yeah,
and there's nothing Natty can really do about this. He's just going to get his chickens, and Snilly's going to make his way over. Natty, with no leash, just losing so much early here. Snilly just going to be a total nuisance and try and slow him down as much as possible. Natty is going to get himself feared up, but I mean, this is such a weird clown fiesta for starting for both of them. Luckily for Natty, he is able to kind of get the scraps of this camp, but he lost out pretty heavily off the start of that, and may just try and run over towards the red side. Cronin has pressure here in the mid, so may look just to try and rotate over and help Natty on this red, but Errol, they're going to see him going in. They're going to see this happening, and Natty this time doesn't have that smite. Is going to find Snilly immediately and find himself getting caught out, but he's just...
I don't know, man.
This is just tilt play from Natty.
Man's tilted off the face of the planet. What is he
doing? Just do the rest of your camps. You lost a red man.
Yeah, he's
tilted.
That tilt had a certain gradient to it, didn't it? Suboptimal start here for Ruddy again. Natty didn't have that protection early that he, his team. I'm trying to sound professional and smart here, but it just sucked. It just sucked. Like, that was just really gross, honestly. And it's Graves. Graves does not want to be put behind early. Graves needs resources. He needs gold. He needs experience and levels. And this is the absolute worst start for him here. It's just clearing his top side now, but he's still only level 2. Snille has 3 camps and, has that advantage from taking Graves' red buff too. So just a lot of pain here for the Graves as he's going to look to try and contest this. Oh, he's only level 2 still.
Don't do it. He doesn't have smite. I mean, neither does Snille. Wait, he actually gets away with this. No, they're all coming in. Looking for the lockdown. Haven't actually been able to land that slow onto him quite yet, but in jumps everyone else. Snille flashes away. They get the lockdown. Natty getting some damage over the wall. Sheehan getting that damage off, and Natty, the D tilt has come in, but Cronin gets the level up in the nick of time to get some health back, and now Errol has the flash. The blind's coming in, and somehow Ruddy just turns that terrible start around.
It was a risky coin flip there for Ruddy, and I think I could have just been so bad for them, but it works out. It works out. That's the important thing right here. That's a positive we have to focus on. So now Natty, he's gotten back into the game. They're able to slow Nille's dominance of the jungle down a little bit as well. If this had happened maybe 20-30 seconds later, then it may have actually worked out in favor for Verdant, as those lanes would have changed position. But you can see just how much of these jungle skirmishes come down to laners and lane positioning. You know, Shihan was able to move first. Cronin was able to move first because they had the pushes in their lanes, and that's why Graves was able to challenge and contest that crab, and that's how they got that kill. And that was a key difference from this game to the previous one.
Oh,
and
wait, no mana.
Yeah, I think Nearly might have to
I
flash this
actually
one.
think you might be in trouble here. Sheen could just keep the pressure up with the Q, get some healing in, but doesn't have the helicopter up, so
Whoa.
nearly just about able to limp away from that one. But man, that was too close. I mean, Nille, not Snilly, Nille did have the flash up, so the odds of that actually ending out in a kill were relatively low. But, you know, buys a lot of pressure, kind of sets a precedent for the lane. And Sheehan, with the fact that they got that assist and that roam off, while also then being able to go straight back to the top lane and catch the wave, has done them really, really well, because that has, first of all, helped their jungler kind of get back into the game. But it also, you know, they lost nothing in the process of doing that. Verdant, they are going to use the pressure they've got bot side, though, to be able to translate this into a dragon. Lovely vision control once again coming in from the side of Verdant. They've got the ward around the area. They've got the crab as well control. So it's all on them as a Flicker. Not going to get himself in any danger here.
He Replace Man was waiting, had that play all set up, and then the cannon minion got so low and he just couldn't stand it anymore, and he had to headbutt the cannon minion to last hit it. That's literally what happened. But to be fair, I don't think there was any play happening. Like maybe if Braum had recalled or something, but yeah, that was unlikely. But another dragon advantage here is every dragon so far in this series, 5 for 5, gone over to Verdant so far, and you would hope. Ooh, nay.
Yeah, Natty needs to be a little bit careful. Does have that smite, but is going to actually get that smite off. But Errol's coming over. He has got that level 6. Cronin coming in, though, with the orb and the shockwave available. The lovely flash comes out. It's Cronin able to make sure that his jungler doesn't lose too much off the back of that. And Natty can just head back into his jungle and catch this entire top side just before his red buff spawns back up. So overall, burning the flash, yeah, a little rough, but doesn't really lose out too hard off the back of that, as Sheehan getting himself a little bit bullied around here by Nilly, but with the empowered Sheen auto and that grass proc, able to trade somewhat back to Nille. God damn it. Why is I hate this jungle top names. God damn it.
I said, man, you'd have fun with this one.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, he's in trouble. No flash.
He's got himself a lovely little stun there. Dodges out on the E. Is going to jump towards a minion. He's running away from his jungler. He's popped the Grandmaster's might just to keep himself alive for a little bit longer. The rest of his team coming in. Blind's going to be up and available. Snilly trying to stay alive. Lovely ward hop over the wall there by Sheehan. And Ruddy, well, Sheehan, I have to give it to him. He played that really, really well to survive.
Bit of whiffs there from Verdant, though. That should have been a dead Sheehan with no flash. Like, we missed the body slam. We missed we didn't really miss it, but channeling the fear from Nocturne before Jax has used his leap strike means that it's really easy to break the channel and no fear coming through at all. So yeah, really, really nicely done there for Sheehan. Just buying a lot of pressure as well, which is important for this one. Like, not only does he keep himself alive, but kind of wastes a lot of time from Snille instead. As Graves now, Natinat is starting up the Herald, but Verdant, no. They are aware of this one, and Snille has completely moved from his bot side. He's running straight to this Herald area. They do not want to give this one up for free. Here we go. We might just have another skirmish on our hands. Yeah,
they do have the teleport not available to Sheehan, actually, so they're going to have to give this up because their top got forced out of the lane nice and early. And Natty just pulling the Herald away is going to go for the full reset. Doesn't look like Verdant are particularly in the position to be able to contest it. So Natty is going to be able to get himself the base off. But yeah, again, these are these little mistakes that we've seen from Ruddy, which, you know, they pull these little mistakes out, and it does make you question some of the gameplay that we are seeing from them, in the sense where, you know, we saw him go for that Herald where his mid lane was very low on mana. His top lane had just reset. And instead, you know, he could have just gone down to his red side. It wasn't under any immediate threat from Verdant at the time. As you can see, Verdant still have no intention of actually picking it up yet. So it feels like, you know, a few kind of like just decision-making mistakes are starting to be the major problem in this game, more than it is like the draft from the last game.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm gonna hold this here because I think Verdant might be looking for this dive. Nocturne's coming down as well, level 6.
Yeah, they're going to turn the lights out. He's going to have the W on, so a bit of a spell shield comes in. Pops that ultimate. They're going to throw everything down onto the Nocturne. The shield comes in, and Natty finds the kill. Ruddy, they saw that play coming a mile off.
Really, really well answered there by Ruddy, but a bit greedy from Verdant to go for it despite having no vision of where Natty was, and Cronin also coming down basically at the same time that Errol was. Nicely responded there from Ruddy to keep their bot lane alive. Waste so many resources there as well from the Verdant side. Having that paranoia on cooldown is a big deal. It's such a big cooldown for Nocturne, and knowing that you're safe for, you know, like 2 minutes now or whatever it is it allows you just to play a lot different here in this lane phase. So really nicely stuff there by Ruddy.
Yeah, really, really nice. Shin, he's having a bit of a rough time versus the Gragas, as most top laners do. Is a very annoying champion to play into, but it's still going equal in farm, and, you know, needs a bit more time before he becomes that split push menace that you do know Jax for.
Yeah, just a bit. Just a bit more time.
But the problem is with, like, Gragas is even, like, later, while he may lose the duel, the 1v1, he's still very effective at handling the wave and stuff, because he gets so much AP. They actually do get the two-man knockup. So they send Flicker in. He is blinded. He's low. They find the lockdown in. Shockwave comes down. It doesn't quite hit the right targets, but Cronin is able to tidy one up. FGG low HP. Does find himself a double kill. Cronin now bolting away, is going to get caught out by the Q there from Snilly, though, as Cronin, he needs to get that movement speed off, but he's not going to be able to find it. Gets himself a little bit more of a shield, but Verdant find that team fight win. I'd love to see a replay of that, though, because I think that Shockwave, I think it did only hit one person. It was a bit of a whiff.
Oh, it was so close though from both sides, and even though Verdant did come out on top of that play, and obviously a solo kill in top side, which was casually witnessing Nile do Nile things, a big downside there is that Draven didn't get the kill, right? And then he died before he could try and pick up the second kill. So that's a lot of stacks that I think he lost there. I don't know the exact number of stacks that he had and how much he's potentially lost. But it's still it's a pretty big deal. It's a consolation here if you are Ruddy, at least, despite losing the fight and losing the dragon here as well. Don't get me wrong. I think you'd rather win the fight and get the dragon, but it's something. It's something to be happy about here.
Sheehan's just going to pop that Blasco, making sure nobody can get over the wall. Nearly very low HP. Zoning orb there from Cronin. Hasn't actually got that shockwave up and available. FGG coming in on that long flank. See if he can find an opportunity to set up. The lights go out. Q goes a little bit wide. They do catch one with the Nocturne ultimate. They're going to throw everything down in onto Snilly. Snilly is low HP as Cronin is able to finish him up. Low health bars on Verdant across the board as Natty now coming in for that chase. Sheehan just trying to be a menace. Not able to find himself the damage. Crab is low. Natty gets the smite down. Gets himself the kill and that Crab. Errol now on the wrong side of the map as the whirling death goes a little bit too wide. Briefcase man hasn't been caught. Errol has been spotted out. They've got the blast cone. They've got the zoning onto the Azir as he's going to hex flash the wall. Coming in with the orb. Finds the knockback. Errol's going to keep the chase up. A lot more damage coming into Errol, but Errol is able to answer out with a kill. But Natty comes in with the blind. The wall goes down. Natty gets some damage off onto Errol. Has to flash the wall. Catches him with the whip and gets the shutdown.
All in all, good stuff for Ruddy right there. Able to pick up the Herald too. We don't have a lot of time until plates fall, so the value of this Herald will disintegrate after about 40 seconds time. So we'll see if Natty decides to, you know, he's got to get a wiggle on if he is going to try and get those plates. I don't think he'll be able to be honest. Instead, he is just going to take his top side. But very nicely done there. Very well played by Ruddy. Only losing Shihan. Well, at the end they lost Alistair as well. But in that fight, going 2 for 1. And securing the objective. Very back and forth in this game, which is something we did not see in the first one, where it was all Verdant all the time. Good stuff here by Ruddy to answer these plays.
Yeah, it does look like you're right, though. The plates, no time coming in for Natty, so he's just going to get himself a reset after that fight. As Snilly actually going in for the invade himself this time, looking to deny that camp away, is Adbayor just going to clear out some of this wave and get a little bit of poke onto Flicker, but again, he's down pretty significantly on farm and is just going to have to take a while to kind of get those items on board. Obviously, once that static comes in, it's a major spike to the wave clear, just from that kind of passive splash damage you get. It does somewhat speed up that wave clear, but the damage not really going to come online until that third item as Cronin may need to be a little bit careful because Errol comes in, they've turned the lights out, and down he goes.
I don't think he knew that Snilly was there. I'm just going to go on a whim and say that. But that is, you know, that's a dead mid laner. Can they invade here?
Yeah, they're looking for it. Natty just wants to get his farm, man. That's all he wants. He's got the
Literally.
smite. He's going to land it as now in comes Adbile, pops the ultimate. They are trying to get some damage down onto Briefcase, but Briefcase, he just cannot stand. He can't do anything. He just has to stand still and slowly go down. I'm going to be critical here. I think Natty is way too focused on farming, man. Like, his support is getting, like, grouped up on by 2 people, and he's like, nah, red. I want my red buff.
It seems very, very solo queue
Yes.
style mentality from him so far. But to his credit and to Ruddy's credit, it seems like they're flipping a lot of plays, but quite a few of them are coming up heads, which is why this has been quite an even game so far. Yeah, but I do agree. I think I don't quite know what the comms are like, but it does seem like Natty is maybe on a different page compared to the rest of his team at times here. But it's a lot of pressure, at least, that Ruddy is able to exert by having a jungler that's constantly in Verdant's face. And I do think with maybe some tweaks in the draft, that you can actually play into that, right? If you do have a jungler that wants to do this, and if you pick some more lane priority and you get some good matchups, then you can absolutely play with that and get some good stuff happening. I just think it's kind of risky when you don't have a skirmishing comp, when you don't have lane prio to be in that situation with a jungler who wants to play like this.
Now, I do worry that this top side is not particularly going in Sheehan's favor. Sorry, they are very low on their turret. Down a level, actually, to Nille. Is going to get some damage down. I say some. They get a lot of damage down. That cast comes out from Nille just to send Sheehan away. But you're starting to see a little bit of a teaser of what Sheehan's going to be able to do. Once he's got a little bit more sustain in his kit, maybe a little bit hard for Nille to be able to survive that. They found a lot of damage onto Errol. Errol throws down the ultimate, is able to shuffle away to safety. Ruddy going to get the inside track on this tower. Teleport coming in from Nille, though, to make sure that this tower does not fall under any threat. But with the ultimate on, FGG now being chased down, gets himself caught up by the headbutt pulverize, flashes over the wall to safety. Cronin, no shockwave available. So they are just going to look to get a bit of damage onto that support, but nothing really that's going to stick and stop Verdant if they want to go for the contest, as it looks like that's going to be the game plan. But the light's getting turned off. They're going to send everybody in forward. Stilly coming in on the flank. Finds himself the cow. A little bit of a weird positioning on that one, but Cronin losing a lot of HP. Sheehan jumping onto Flicker to try and buy some space. Adbile flashes away. Flicker's popped immediately there by Cronin, as now the health bars are going solo. They find the stun onto Nille. Nille has to flash away. Natty goes in for a further chase, but slowed down by the Winter's Bite. Gets the ultimate off and kills himself. The killers, Ruddy, get the dragon.
Natty is so aggressive on these plays here, flashing in on 25% health just to finish Nille off. That was risky as well when there's a Braum there who's got his wall up that can block your ulti. It just feels like another flip. Honestly, it feels like another flip play, but it's working out here for Ruddy. That is going to be their dragon. And Errol.
Oh! He just gets solo killed.
Yeah, Xian was lying in wait for that one. Had his flash up, crucially, so he's able to jump over the soldiers there to find that kill. Xian, with his first kill in this game, does have his mythic and is now moving towards his second item as well. Probably, maybe, potentially the Shojins or sometimes Bather and King as well. Wow, I mean, it's a Draven.
Man, junglers this game.
I mean, as a jungler, I kind of get it, but
Look, if it was anyone but the ADC, I'd be against you on this, but it's an ADC, so they
especially
deserve
as Draven. But then again, I'm probably thinking about it from the extent where most Draven players would all F4 in that situation.
Briefcase, what are you doing, man? I'm not sure about that play there. Tactical damage trading, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Asa has a heal, he'll be fine, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, now he's very low and ultless. Paranoia is about to come up, and I actually don't know if Verdant are going to be able to get in time. Although Errol looking to set up onto this, that's going to be the Herald secured. Nanny's going to be able to pick that one up. He's not staying for the crab. Come on, man. Just give up something. Oh, my word.
Oh, he's not happy about that, honestly. He got Herald, but... no, I think he can be okay with leaving that one behind. Verdant now looking for their engage. Oh!
Sad. Sad.
Almost got the Hex Slash over the wall. Verdant are always able to find bits and pieces, though, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, Sheehan needs to be a little bit careful. It's going to be okay, but... Yeah, Sheehan starting to kind of play that split push style there. Gets a little bit of chip damage onto that tower. As the Legacy of Shurima will be timing out fairly soon, so mid lane pressure can kind of go back to Ruddy. They'll be quite comfortable with that one. They still have the Herald, obviously, which they just picked up, so I expect to see them try and use it to kind of crack this mid, ideally. The bot's already low, and eventually Sheehan will be able to get to that, but they really want to open up this mid lane and make sure that they can start to get some level of control over this one. As Adbio actually hasn't gone for the static, I kind of forget that the item has been, like, just nerfed into the ground. So it has gone for the Kraken Slayer as their item here. And I expect to see, yeah, the Herald go down in the mid lane and kind of open up the map a little bit more for the side of Ruddy, because right now they are restricted by the fact that all of the turrets are still standing for the side of Verdant.
I think that's also a symptom of the way, like, the way this game's played out. It just seems like there's a lot of random plays and Ruddy are able to pick up some kills from it. But they've not really translated it to anything. You know, not really playing the map overly well. I think that last Herald play is an exception. I actually do think that was really good. Like, they were in position at the right time. They caught nearly bot side without his TP and all that stuff. But generally speaking, they've not been able to do too much. And especially considering they've got both Heralds now. The fact that we're 20 minutes into this game. Oh.
Yeah, well, you're a little bit too deep there as an Orianna. Shockwaves onto Snelly, but the rest of the team have actually made it up in time. Sheehan coming in with the lockdown. Natty trying to get some damage off, but he finds himself knocked up. Sheehan's low HP. Natty still has that ultimate to use to get that damage off. Two-man knockup comes in from Briefcase. A lot of damage coming in from Natty, but he is low HP. Can't even get the R off in time. Triple kill over to Errol. Knockup comes in onto Briefcase, and now Errol goes in for the quadra kill. Adbio may find himself getting pented here. They find the belly bump. They find the damage. Ad gets himself the spell shield to break away. He's trying to make a run for it. The slows are coming in. Errol's going for the penta kill. There it is. Penta for Errol.
Love it. Who needs to instantly turn away to Nash and get that one down and just be happy with 4 kills when you can get the penta kill? Beautiful stuff there. And Azir, one of the highest scaling champions in the game, picking up 5 kills in the mid-game team fight. Absolutely beautiful stuff. And Verdant again, once more, solidifying themselves in a dominating position in a game of League of Legends against Ruddy. Nash did not get picked up, though. I honestly do wonder whether going for that penta was worth it, because I think they could have turned on Nash instead, but I'm never going to deny a man a penta kill, so good job from Aaron.
You need the highlight, baby. You need the highlight.
Yeah, that's true.
It's another Hextech Soul as well. They're going to be very happy with that one. Actually, to be fair, both teams will be happy with that one, as Sheehan needs to be a little bit careful. He's not as vulnerable as the likes of Cronin. I do think that was a bit of a mistake. You're playing Orianna. You're playing quite extended. Probably in your interest not to be so deep up. That Herald is about to time out, though, so I think it's going to be a casual drop of that Herald in the mid, shove up that wave, and just try and get the damage onto the tower. Still hasn't been channeled up yet. Natty's, I think he's going over the wall. Okay, he's going to go over the wall.
It's got to be. Oh, he whiffed it. He mucked it up.
That was a bit of a mistake.
Does he still get this?
It's going the back way. It's flanking.
Is it going to get baited? It's not going to get baited, right? Sometimes that gets caught on the minions if you go in that position, but yeah, that's fine. I mean, the call is Herald into Nash, but
Baron?
I'm not sure about this.
Long flank cow. It's the long flank cow, but he's so far from his team, and they've just been exploded. Briefcase, well out of position. Ruddy, very, very different form from the summer split. Yeah. I'm not sure about this one.
It's that was odd. That was really odd. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess putting Herald down in a lane and then moving to Nash is a decent strategy, but surely not in that situation. Like, Herald isn't lasting long. It's, 23 minutes into the game. It's not like I don't know. That was just a very peculiar play, in my opinion. I'm not really sure about that one. And yeah, again, Verdant just coming out on top. We can see the gold difference here. Almost 5,000 in mid lane. Holy smokes. That is absolutely diabolical here. 5,000 gold difference between Azir and Orianna. Like, okay.
There was a pentakill, but yeah, that's
yeah,
a lot of
I'm
money.
not saying this is like a Cronin Errol diff. I don't think Cronin specifically, played this poorly. It's just, it is what it is. It's 5,000 gold difference, and Azir is going absolutely mega in this game. And yeah, it's tough, especially when you consider the comp of Ruddy, like someone like Graves and Jax, like it's relatively low ranged if you're not Sivir. And Azir loves that, right? Azir will love
And
you
the
just
problem
walk
is
into him.
they've picked this Sivir, and then again, a very greedy jungler, someone who wants gold,
Yeah.
someone who wants farm. So even the jungle camps don't go to Adbile. So Adbile's only been able to kind of catch the odd waves, and it's trying to keep tempo of his very scrappy team. So he's only an item and a half in, where Flicker is 2.5 items in. So, like, if Ruddy need to win this game, the win condition isn't Natty, it's Adbile. But for some reason, the game's kind of playing to what Natty wants to do. It's kind of playing to his tempo. So I think that's kind of been the major problem here. Is these greedy drafts, these greedy play styles, definitely being a bit of a problem. As lights get turned out here by Snilly, just as a kind of threat, deterrent to force Ruddy to kind of stand back in case they get jumped in onto, and they do lose their mid lane tower. They don't lose the inhibitor yet, but that is Sheehan getting himself jumped in with a helicopter on. Isn't able to get the stun off, though, unfortunately. They do find a lot of damage as the Winter Spike comes down. Knock up onto multiple members. Sheehan's low HP. FGG jumps forwards. A shockwave lands onto 2, but again, 5k down Oriana. The damage is just tickling onto those members. And Ruddy, the gold deficit is now the real problem. They are 12k down, and they just cannot let any damage stick. Oh. Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's a 25 Magi stack for item Azir. Just cuts through Natty like he's not even there. Yeah, this game's a little bit tough here, I think. I'm not quite sure what Ruddy can do. I mean, obviously, you just want to buy time. Your scaling is still really, really strong, especially when you consider, like, you know, Sivir scaling is great, Oriana scaling is great, but it opens up different win cons for you. Specifically in that, you know, with that Jax can maybe play to a side lane. But I also do think this is where this Nocturne pick has come in really clutch for Verdant. Is like it's hard to play split push versus a Nocturne, right? Because even if you're ever in a split push position, you're never really safe because Nocturne can just ult and gank you. I do think honestly it's just going to be a difficult one to ride out. And Natty, I don't know, they're running
into the mix. Shockwave lands onto 2. The lights go out. They find themselves a 2-man pulverize, but that Braum wall doing so much work to stop them. And Snilly just does the old switcheroo. Pops the stopwatch. Stopwatch does come out in response. Cronin does find himself in a bit of danger. Triple kill, though, picked up for Flicker. No way are we going to get another pentakill, right? They jump in with a flash. Cronin's low HP. There's the quadra kill. Natty, he is not going to be the one to give another pentakill over. 2 in 1 game would just be heartbreaking. Natty gets shuffled back. Here it is. Pentakill number 2. Flicker gets it this time. And Ruddy are being dismantled in this series.
If there was more of a statement as to how this series was going, it's the fact that there's been 2 pentakills. Not in the series, in the game. Draven and Azir both picking up pentas there. It started. I don't know what to say. I feel like Ruddy's whole game plan was coin flipping, and when the coin flips worked, it was okay. It was cool, though they never really looked comfortable. But it was, okay. It was cool. You're scaling, that's fine. But then, and then Verdant just decided they wanted to win, and they won.
So, for me, the issue really comes from the fact that, like, Natty just wants to play these like very selfish farm heavy junglers. While Snilly definitely plays towards the team. And yeah, I know Nocturne is in a way an assassin, but he brings way more utility to the team than something like a Graves does. Graves obviously has that big blind and like a bunch of burst and stuff, but I mean, first of all, it was like the Bruiser Graves, so it's not going to be as much damage as you're offering. It's more just survivability and kind of being a nuisance with the blind. But like, you can turn the lights out with the Nocturne. You can kind of back up a play with that semi-global. Obviously, you've got the fear that you can throw down, the stride breaker for the slows. Like, I feel like the Nocturne offered the team so much more than the Graves ever will. So going into this next game, my eye is on if Natty picks another like farm heavy selfish jungler. Like, if we see a Kindred come out from Natty, then I know this is a 3-0. I can't have any faith after this. I think you need to just go for the Jarvins. You need to go for the Maokais. You need to play these champions which will enable your teams, because Cronin did a great job to get control of those lanes. But like, honestly, I feel so sorry for Addy this game, because like, he's just been left on an island bot lane while Briefcase Man has to roam to back up whatever crazy play or crazy invade Natty is going for. But yeah. I think it's probably time for us to throw to a quick break, and then we'll be back with game number 3. We'll see you in a moment. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the NLC Aurora Open. We're getting ready to go into game number 3. The first two have been devastatingly strong by Verdant. Ruddy have been completely walked over. So I think going into this next game, it's very much on Ruddy to kind of just pick a jungler that enables the team. I think Natty's got to kind of, I'm going to say it, he's just got to drop the ego a little bit, man, and start playing for the team.
Yeah, it's one or two things has to happen, and either way, it needs to result in more synergy between the jungler and the rest of the team. Either Natty needs to pick something that does play more towards the team, or the team needs to pick something that has some prio that can push lanes out and actually be effective for a jungler that wants to be farming up, invading, and having lots of resources. I think so far it's really just not working. And to be honest, like that game 2 was... a lot of things went right for Ruddy that I would say maybe shouldn't have, sadly, as really kind of mean as it is to say that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the game for them to steal, and they still didn't win it. And it was... I just don't have much faith in them, honestly, as a squad coming into this third game. And I do think this draft will be crucial, which is even more exciting considering we have the very exciting special draft of the day, don't we? So
yes, well,
yeah, I'm curious to see what Ruddy
now
decide to do, and
technically 10 champions per team has been removed. Obviously, then with the extra bans, you're down to 15 champions per team has been just banned away. I mean, going into this one, it's 30 total champions will be banned. It's going to be a banger. Honestly, it's going to be such a banger to see what they've got pulled out. And I feel like the problem with Ruddy right now is they've picked all the like bizarre picks early. So now it's really easy to outban them and deny them from, you know, like more meta picks, because all those bizarre picks are already banned away from them. So it's just easy for the side of Verdant just to ban away. But I guess the counter argument is now Ruddy, as Verdant have kind of played a little bit more meta, let's say. Verdant can kind of start to target the more weird and niche things that may show up from Verdant's champ pool. So that's where I'm expecting to see that go. We do have a quick remake on the draft, hence why we jumped back out. We did see the Rengar was going to be the first ban. Pretty much expected on that front. I expect to see Ruddy answer with a Cassiopeia. They just won't let Errol play that Cassiopeia. Like, I expect that just to be permabanned. If somehow we go beyond this point. But I'm not going to lie. Right now, it is looking very much like a Verdant 3-0. Or a Verdant, as we would say.
Love that. Yeah, I actually think... this is really interesting, because if you're Verdant now, you probably do just put a lot of emphasis on banning out, you know, things like Jarvan, things like maybe the Sejuani or the Vi, you know, stuff that would indicate a change of scenery for Ruddy and for Natty, specifically in that jungle position. So... yeah, and this is the power of Fearless. Like he's lost a lot of well, he's lost his Graves and his Kha'Zix, so you really can pinch out these like meta picks here and force him again onto one of a more selfish pick. I don't know whether he's uncomfortable on the meta champions, whether he just doesn't like the meta champions, whatever it is, something will have to change. And this draft is going to be very, very indicative of game 3, even more so than I would say you would usually expect coming into draft.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see what this one's going to look like from the players going into this one. Obviously, looks like we had some level of a remake on the draft, hence why we are back on our faces. Hopefully, shouldn't be too long before we get into the action and into this game. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious what's going to come out, because obviously a lot of questions are raised about Natty. I think we've been kind of, unfortunately, I hate to say it because, you know, it's kind of like premier performance, but I think we've been rightfully quite critical of the champs he's pulled out in the first 2 games, his play style, very, very focused on farming. And while my win for him in game 1 was he was able to find farm well behind and actually, you know, keep up in relevancy in that sense. This game, it wasn't quite that case. He was actually a lot better at securing objectives to the team and actually playing, you know, you got both the Herald, no. Yeah, you got both the Heralds,
both
actually.
Heralds, yeah.
And he got a dragon or 2, maybe just the 1. But he was able to secure some neutral objectives for his team. But the problem is he's only getting like jungle stuff, like jungle camps or jungle objectives. He's not actually securing towers for his team. Like they took 0 towers in that game. He didn't get any early kills. He didn't get any early ganks off. So I want to see him kind of branch out a little bit from that jungle and actually start to play towards his laners and play towards those setups. This is why I think something like a Jarvan, a Maokai, Sejuani, I know it's not particularly meta, but something which will actually come in and set up his players for for these ganks. Because I feel like in that last game, if he was on the Sedge instead of something like the Graves, it enables him to go topside and set up the Jax with the passive. You've got that permafrost, you've got the lockdown. You can then kind of snowball the Jax from there. Because I saw some serious signs of life from Sheehan in that game. Like, he was a saving grace. Now, pick and bans actually have been happening off screen. I'm just getting my little update on that one. So we're just going to have to kind of use your imagination and go for the bans.
Here it comes.
Oh, pick bans, here we are. So
yeah. Oh, this is
old
OG.
school.
Look at
Been
us.
a while.
ESL who? Get the it is going to be the Jarvan. We said it. We wanted a kind of change of scenery for Natty, and I think this is absolutely it. I think Jarvan actually is a very good kind of middle ground between kind of more aggressive and kind of selfish, maybe not the right word, but like not one of those dog champions. Like, he's a team jungler, but not a dog jungler, right?
Yes.
So I do think he kind of bridges that gap a little bit too. Someone like the Nocturne also, I think fits that bill. And yeah, I want to see, like, do Ruddy go for more lane priority here, so that Natty can perhaps do a little bit more, as we did see Snille actually in that first game play the Jarvan and was invading Natty Nat quite a lot actually, but it was all because he had prior in his bot and his mid lane. So yeah, we'll continue to see things like that happening here. Either way, a lot of focus onto Nille here, really trying to get Sheehan a positive matchup in top side. But I mean, you had last pick in the previous game and you did counter pick top side and it didn't really work. So certainly trying to mix things up a little bit. It looks, yeah, we'll see. The identity of this draft already looks a lot different from the first two games here from Ruddy.
Absolutely. Well, we are seeing, but the Trist was a bit of a flex. It could have gone mid. It could have gone into that bot lane. Looks like that it's going to be the case. It's going bot lane as Cronin locks in the Alessandra. And I think for the first time, even regardless of what gets picked up for the top lane here for Sheehan, this is the best draft we've seen from Ruddy all day long. Like, they've got a team that's very coherent, capable of skirmishing, capable of team fighting. It's got clear conditions in how you play that comp out. I think the others have kind of just been very solo queue, just throw everything and see what sticks. With this case, there's a very clear understanding of how to enable and start up these fight/skirmishes. We'll see, what Sheehan decides to kind of round the comp out with. Has already taken the Ornn and the Jax off the bar, but there are plenty of other junglers, top laners that they could look towards. That was weird. Going back into normal draft. There's a final pick coming in here for the side of Verdant was going to be that Renekton. So they kind of know what they're working with on that front. I think, honestly, something like a Kennen or a Rumble is really good here, and both are open. You've obviously got the Hot Pop, which can come out, which we saw Verdant actually play in that game number 1. The Kennen, just a mass AoE lockdown. So I feel like they've got plenty of options on that front, but actually kind of opting away from that and going towards something a little bit more scrappy in the top side, the Olaf. Now, Olaf can be a little rough with the Jarvan because he either gets trapped in the Cataclysm or trapped outside the Cataclysm, just throwing axes in. But again, outside of that, I do think this is a way more coherent draft here from the side of Ruddy. I think Verdant, this time they're the ones with, a less optimal team, a less kind of clear win condition team. I do think it's still better draft than what we saw in game number 1 from Ruddy, but I do think it's definitely a little bit more kind of like all over the place with a lot of ingredients, but we don't actually know what they're baking. Yeah,
that's a very good way to put it, honestly. And I'm not quite sure if I want to taste either, to be fair, when it's all said and done. Something that kind of confuses me a tad about the Ruddy draft is, like, you've got 2 lanes that kind of want your attention if you're Jarvan, and they're on the opposite sides of the map, right? Normally you have weak side, which, let's be honest, is top lane, so that you can then focus on mid and bot and then close to each other and whatever. But Olaf as a champion, especially into Renekton, they're going to be butting heads constantly. And you kind of want to be around to make sure that that goes in your favor, because eventually if Olaf gets enough kills, if you are just butting heads, you just auto win that matchup. Having said that, someone like Tristana will inherently push pretty hard. Like, it's kind of impossible for her to not push a lane, and she has a lot of all in and jumps and stuff like that. So she also wants to have a little bit of love given to her and to her lane, so that she doesn't just get ganked all the time and put behind that way. So it can be a little bit difficult actually here for Natty to choose a side to go to, and that can be a little bit perhaps of execution difficulty there. But aside from that, I do agree. Ruddy's gone with much more of a traditional team comp here, and hopefully something that we'll see them perform a little bit differently on.
Personally, I think they kind of may have to abandon Addy a little bit, at least earlier on in this game. I think attention early needs to go into this Olaf and make sure that Renekton doesn't snowball. So I kind of expect it to be an upwards clear towards the top lane from the side of Natty. I pray that Natty doesn't fall into the habits of just power farming. I also feel this might be the first time where Snilly doesn't feel comfortable just to go for like one of those early invades and try and deny Natty. So that's kind of where the expectations are. But again, what we do see with Jarvans is because they can get over walls very easy, sometimes we just see the Jarvans go for that like buff to buff invade, in which case, that does mean that then you slow down the opportunity to go for a topside gank. So I'd be interested what Natty focuses on here, if he plays more for the team or if he plays purely to try and out jungle Snilly. I feel playing for the team is definitely the best shout here. Poppy obviously very solid at denying him on the ganks with the steadfast presence on that W, but it'd be it's very much down to the decision making of what Natty is going to be doing. And so far, some of those decisions have been maybe a little emotional. Is probably the best way to word it. Like that red buff invaded last game. Like, man, that was a tough watch. That was a real tough watch.
Yeah, that was reportable for sure. That was. That was not the best play that we've seen coming out of a jungler ever. But it's I think honestly, when you're playing something like the Jarvan, you kind of just have to keep your ego in check a little bit more, because you're not that star champion. You're not that selfish champion. You're not that guy that's gonna carry the team on his back and be that guy. You're not the guy here on Jarvan. You do want to just naturally play more towards your team. So I imagine when you're in that situation, you probably are going to be, I would imagine having slightly less kind of decisions like that being made, because you don't think you don't quite think in the same way. But we'll see.
We will see. As you can see, there was a little technical issue going on there, so it shouldn't be too long for us to get that fixed and jump back into this game number 3. I'm going to be, it's very much an early tracking of the junglers, but I think when you do also look at that, there's also, you kind of got to pay attention to the state of mid lane. Last game was definitely, at least early, decided by how well Cronin was able to get control of the lane, move into those side lanes, and set up that, well, not into the side lanes, into the river, and set up that play, which kind of brought Natty back into the game, very much off the fact that, yes, you do have to give Sheehan also a bit of love for getting control of the lane and then rotating down into that fight as well. But it definitely came off the fact that Cronin was able to move first. So I think the attention right now is going to be very much on how the mid laners can kind of also wrestle for control. Obviously, for the side of a Lissandra, very, very solid, at least early, as at being able to kind of shove out those waves, because you get the spread from the Q, you get that kind of bounce as you hit multiple minions, so you can get that early shove off. And then with the CC, with the slows, you're actually very good in these skirmishing situations. So it's one of those things you do have to watch out for if you're on the side of Verdant, because Lissandra, especially with a Jarvan early, really, really rough to scrap against early. So we'll keep our eye on Cronin and what their game plan is. Natty just placing some wards down. It looks like they're going towards their red, though. So maybe clearing downwards, and Sheehan maybe put on an island, unless we see an early kind of gank here coming in, like a level 2 gank from Natty.
This is interesting.
Snilly, what are you doing?
Yeah, Snilly is hanging around, but yeah, this is very curious. He should be able to just take this chicken camp, and I don't think that Ruddy have any idea this is happening. Yeah, they've pinged it out. They've seen each other now, so Let's see what happens. Jarvan and Poppy get into a bit of a scrap on the chickens on the top side. Poppy has taken chickens as level 2. Natty is still level 1. Hasn't been able to take that red buff. Is bullying Natty off.
Oh, Natty.
Look at that. It's a terrible start right here for Natty again in this game.
That is that's 3 games in a row now where Natty's just been like, basically had his jungle flipped by Snilly just going for these invades. And honestly, it really comes down to Ruddy just doing really bad covering there because Snilly was able to walk into that jungle and sit in that bush. So as much as, yes, we've been critical of Natty, I do think Ruddy as a whole have been making these really bad coverage mistakes. And Natty, he's going to get his blue buff invaded. No smite available to him. Low HP. I mean, this is just gone. Snilly's going to be able to steal this one. He comes in with a flash warbang and finds first blood.
Oh man, it's again though, it's because you have push in your lanes. Flicker and FGG are pushing Adebayor and Briefcase Man under the tower. So when this happens, it enables you to go for these kind of invades to make these plays happen. There's nothing, there's very little Natty can do about it. And as you mentioned, there was no coverage level 1. No, there was a ward in like the top side of the mid bush, but it didn't really cover anything. And just so unfortunate. But now, I mean, is this a tilted reinvade from Natty? He should be. I don't know if he got spotted out there. Maybe he did. I don't think he did.
No
but
pings went down.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because, like, look at the wave positions here again from Verdant. Like,
yeah,
they are in prime position to collapse and stop this from happening. But I think they just lack a little bit of information here. Unfortunately, he's just walked over that ward and he's not going to get caught out. But again, that could have been disastrous. You had Renekton pushing out really fast, Syndra pushing out really far.
Wait,
he's just used his Q as well. He does have flash.
Natty.
Nah, he's tilted. He's not even
going to try and get that smite down, but he's not going to be able to find it. He's able to get away. Got himself the crab as well. Snilly is just all over Natty though. Like wherever he goes, Snilly shows up. Like every game that has been the game plan for Snilly. He's just completely outpacing Natty in the jungle.
Yep. It's very difficult for Natty here, honestly. Like it's oh man. It is tough, and kudos to Snilly as well. Like when this happens, you not only let's hang about here because we could get a kill coming down. Xian's really low.
That's a lot of lockdown. Xian tries to go for the flash in. Can he get some damage down? That was close. The minions, the healing. Snilly's able to survive. Natty, no flash available. No, he does have the flash available to him, but Snilly's in the area. Oh no, Natty. No. Not like this. Not like this. He's so sad.
Mate, honestly, if yeah, God, I don't even know.
Little bro is headbutting his keyboard right now.
This is yeah, solo kills in bot side. Oh boy, it's a toughie. It's a toughie here for Ruddy.
Oh, hello, Snilly. He might have been found. Him gets himself a shutdown. I see what Natty was doing.
Yes,
so
shutdown,
he was playing for the lanes, but not in the way we thought. He was farming kills over. No way. Okay, don't worry. He was farming kills over. I see.
Yeah, for the shutdown.
Yes.
For the shutdown for his teammates. Yeah, that's actually not a bad shout, actually. He doesn't even get an assist either. That's how selfless that play was.
What a hero.
That's some five head gaming right there. I didn't think of that, so my apologies there to Vinay. I mean, this is why he's on the rift and we're sitting here just talking about it, obviously. But for real, it's not looking too good. Shihan's trying to make some trades here, but it's not working for him either.
Dead.
And he's dead. Yeah, it's. I said that you're butting heads all the time, and if you get a lead in it, you just win out straight. Oh my goodness, it's just.
I'm pretty sure Ruddy's Uber Eats is on the way.
I mean, I don't know. I think Ruddy the one's feeding right now. I'm not sure that it's the opposite.
It's hard work. Geez. Oh no. Oh no, it's only a Soraka. Oh no, there's a Poppy! Run! Yeah, this is.
Oh, that was smart.
This is just really, really tragic for Ruddy. I will say, this isn't actually on Sheehan this time. Sheehan's getting outpaced by Nilly, but he also wanted to have his jungler show up, but Snilly just has totally shut Natty down. So the reason top has actually gone ahead isn't, I wouldn't say because it's Sheehan or Natty's fault. I'd actually say Snilly, even though he hasn't ganked top, has actually had so much impact on top by just making sure that he is everywhere Natty is.
Yeah. You shut down the enemy jungler. You have constant information of where the enemy jungler is, and then it just becomes so much easier to play out your lanes in a 1v1 or a 2v2 situation if you just know what the enemy jungler is up to.
Natty just walking through the lane and into...
Oh, it's a grey screen. This must be what Ruddy are seeing when they play.
Natty POV. Apologies about whatever's going on here, guys. We can't see anything. Oh, we're back. We're back.
No, he's doing it again. There's no mercy. Oh, but Ruddy might know, actually.
Have they seen him? Looks like they have seen him.
Adebayor's
gets himself
low.
the wall bang off. That's a lot of damage onto Adebayor. Adebayor trying to get the damage off. Jumps onto Snilly. Snilly on the run, but he looks to be making a grand escape. Natty finds himself the kill as we get a quick freeze frame just to get a snapshot of that kill. Ruddy, his actions, his sounds. We are seeing people going low. Down goes Flicker. FGG next up for the side of Ruddy to secure themselves the kill onto this one. And it looks like FGG was able to get away. I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
He did it. I'm sure he did something amazing that we all just missed, and that's a real shame. Two kills for Ruddy. I mean, it's great. They're getting back into this game just a little bit here, considering. I mean, that was like what, a 3-4k gold lead for Verdant in like 5 minutes. That is honestly pretty. I'm just gonna say it. That's pretty bad. Pretty terrible for Verdant to give out some kills like that. Like, you just don't need to. This game is won at this point. You just do not need to be doing these kind of moves.
Cronin, not like this, my dude.
He's got nowhere to run. Absolutely
he's got nowhere to go. Oh, no, he claws. Oh, no. Yeah, down he goes. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think...
I also, with everything that happened down bot side, Adebayor didn't get a single kill. Look at the farm.
Yeah, I know. I've literally all the stuff that's been happening. I've literally not even seen that yet.
We're being quite critical of the jungle diff, but there has been a mid diff. I'll be honest. No, sorry, ADC diff. Like Adebayor, unfortunately, has been.
He to be fair, I don't think he's not been given a lot of resources. He's been put on things like
not been given any.
Draven. But yeah, I don't know. This game is. It's just, I mean, in situations like this, we're trying to sit here and not just be really mean to, you know, to try and be optimistic, to try and talk about the game and things, and I don't know. But, like, this is just tough. This is tough to watch. You've got control across the entire map if you're Verdant. Yeah, and Ruddy are just getting killed, not only by Snille, but in essentially 1v1s, 2v2s as well. It's very, very difficult to come back from a game like this if you are Ruddy.
Yeah,
piling on bot though might work.
Unfortunately, we haven't seen them come back from it either. It looks like they may look towards the dragon actually, knowing that the poppy was on the top side, but obviously with the empowered recall, the herald, they're actually already back on the map and now moving towards this dragon. While the dragon's only lost 1/3 of its HP, so need to speed it up somewhat. It doesn't look like they will be able to do it in time unless some kind of a miracle Callista Steel comes in, which, let's be real, probably not going to be happening here, although maybe looking for it, misses the Q, so not even going to be remotely set up for it. There's Verdant. Doing quite a good job just gatekeeping Ruddy away as get a little bit of damage off. Getting that area and a bit of gold from your spell thieves.
My goodness, 10 minutes, 5,000 gold difference. Yeah, it's a difficult situation here still. You did get the dragon though if you're Ruddy, so you know that's nice. I think it means more from the fact that you're denying it from Verdant.
Oh no.
Here comes the 2v2 again though. Not a lot of spears for the expunge.
Oh no.
Rend.
Oh no. It's Poppy. Snilly finds himself the knock-up. Actually will find himself locked down here as Cronin can't really come forward. Dodges away on the scat of the week, but I mean, that was the best case scenario there for Ruddy. They just get away with it. But their support is full on reset at this point. So that tower going down, plate still up. I mean, if you have a look at the plates overall, one plate up on the top side, so they've taken 4 top. They're about to take all these plates bot. They're even making sure that all the minions die, so Adebayor remains even further behind in farm. He's just getting a bit of passive gold experience, but this is so rough. They just killed off like 6-7 minions from Adebayor who's already down as it is. So yeah, not sure about this one, Chief. This might be a very quick 3-0 here from the side of Verdant.
So if we're looking at the future in this game and like how Ruddy get back into it and how they can kind of, I don't know, claw their way back into something, get some gold going along. I do think obviously a lot of it comes down to Verdant making mistakes, a bit like how those kills happened in the bot side. But I also, what worries me is that I don't think Orlaf's ever going to be able to challenge Renekton at this point. Oh, we got engaged though in mids.
Oh, yeah, they're going to find the lockdown onto Errol, but there's no real follow-up. The Shilling Smite comes in. In comes the Crocodile. Natty locked in place, losing so much HP to Nilly. Cronin falls in the meanwhile. Natty has to flash over the wall to safety. Oh, no, flags and drags over the wall, sorry, to safety. Oh, Ruddy. It gets harder, doesn't it? Like, when you have one stomp's quite hard to cast. We're now on our third stomp in a row. What do we talk about? What's your favorite vegetable?
My favorite, I don't know. I think Errol here is maybe TPing a bit too aggressively.
No, I don't think he is. I think he's able to just completely secure that one. Briefcase, man.
Doesn't even try. Honestly, this is the kind of game he would have missed that flash. He walked up to the wall to try and flash that wall, but that is a notoriously difficult wall to flash. And it was like, with the way this game is going, I think he just knew, like, everything's going wrong for us this game. I will fail at this flash. So he walked up to the wall and didn't even flash over it.
Just stood still.
He was like, nah, I'm not good. Because that would just be like insult to injury, right? It's just doomed.
That is almost 15 plate game.
Yeah, 13,
14 plates this
14.
Game.
Yeah. 14 plates, 13 minutes in. They've got 40 seconds to try and make it the perfect 15, which will contribute to this 10,000 gold lead at 13 minutes. 10,000 gold. I mean, is that even possible?
Ruddy doing everything in their power not to give over that final plate. As they rotate their whole team into the mid. Snilly gets himself the wallbang off. Flicker hasn't even really been able to join into the fight yet. In comes the old swing of the hammer. They do get some damage down. Cronin actually finds himself ulting himself to get away. Flicker pulls back his Soraka to get her to safety. FGEG now does putting the silence zones down. Cataclysm comes in, but Flicker's just able to jump back out. There's 2 kills onto the Crocodile. He's going to be looking for another double kill. Picked up. It's going to be another ace coming in. FGG in with the slows. In with the banana. Triple kill for Nilly. Verdant, they didn't even need their mid.
It's tough. It was tough. It's not looking any less tough here. Credit to Ruddy. They tried to make something happen. They saw Arrow on the bot side. No teleport. Pull the trigger on the 4v5. And it sort of started out a little bit okay. But Renekton at this point is way too huge here. Way too good in these fights. Any kind of like small skirmishes and stuff like that, Renekton is going to come out on top. Especially when he's this far ahead. And you saw it. You saw it happen. He was too big. He was far too strong, Ruddy. Just, yeah, 12,000 gold down at 15 minutes. Something not quite right is happening on the Rift right here that we are able to bear witness to. And I don't even know what the comeback order is here.
They still have, like, crazy CC and a crazy team fight. The problem is like, just look at the items. They have a Gold Drinker onto Natty, they have an Everfrost onto Cronin, and then no one else has an item. It's like, Advior, he barely took it. Oh, no. Oh, no. He jumps in, does, what, like, 100 damage to Snilly with some auto attacks, and that's it.
Yeah.
There is no window of opportunity for them to get any of this damage to sink in, and Verdant, this actually feels more one-sided than the other 2 games so far.
Oh, I think so, Jay. It's like a 30,000 gold leader. 5 minutes in, it's crazy. I think it's one of the most one-sided game of Professional League Legends I've ever seen, really.
Cronin ults himself as well. I'm not sure about this one. They do find the lockdown on to FGG, but like, consolation prizes.
Yeah, it's something, I guess. It's something. Obviously, Flicker here on the Kalista does have cleanse, so even harder to shut down. Basically for anyone, honestly, like Lissandra won't be able to shut her down, and she can jump through the Jarvan Cataclysm as well. So yeah, she should be relatively slippery in this game, all things considered. Ruddy might be able to pick up their second dragon here, and to be honest, I mean, considering the gold difference, I think Verdant will be okay with just passing up a dragon. It doesn't really mean too much, and I really don't think there's a Dragon Soul win condition for Verdant. I'm not quite sure they're going to need to reach that.
I mean, the mountain's nice because they could potentially get it kind of early. It's definitely not, you know, the one that guarantees you a win. As Snilly, oh, Cronin, be careful, mate. Does see Snilly. Bad boy, or still just got himself the quiver, got himself the recurve bow and the attack speed boots. Like, he just has attack speed. He has absolutely no AD.
There's nothing. It's
bad.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
This is actually one of the hardest games to cast, man.
Honestly, and it's never ending here. The tournament just doesn't stop for Ruddy.
They're trying for the play, but Errol's come over. Cronin's actually able to jump over the orb mid-E. They find the knockup. They find the damage onto Errol, but Errol goes golden. Can they find the follow-up? Wow. The ambulance healing comes in from FGG, and down goes Natty once again. Ruddy's base has been left open. They're not going to get a charge onto the inner towers. They actually are getting the Nexus towers charged onto. That's a tower down. The Herald has been dissuaded, but they're continuing to charge it. They got a demolish proc to use and everything. Down goes the Braum. Now Adbio on the run. 17 minutes on the clock. FGG's keeping the pressure up, keeping the damage down as they're able to secure another kill. Cronin is able to get himself one in response, but it's just going to be an unbelievably fast game here from Verdant. They're teleporting onto the cannon minion to keep it alive. Here comes the Cataclysm. Low HP, but he's got himself a Soraka to keep himself alive for just a little bit longer, but he's not going to be able to survive this one. Nearly putting the damage onto Sheridan. Sheehan able to just about get away. Verdant wanted to go for the win, but they ran out of minions.
There's a lot of minions in mid, but I think Verdant just going to have to walk away here. The downside of winning so hard so early is the death timers are not particularly long, so Ruddy able to respawn here and defend the base. But still, I mean, you held on for a little bit. That's nice. Nilace popping up his fury here. It's Cronin who's TPing in. I think the stun was a little bit too early there. Could have timed the stun to cancel. I think she's all right. She should be able to walk away. Is Nilay in trouble?
I don't know. I think Daddy's in trouble, actually.
Yeah.
Call an ambulance, but not for me. Here comes the Poppy. Oh my word.
Yeah.
Get hammered, Ruddy. Oh, that was a lot of damage.
If Syndra had the execute portion of her ult available,
bro,
it's too early in the game for it, but
we are 19 minutes in. They cannot be anywhere near it yet.
No. I don't know. The Ruddy, I don't know. Kalissa's not here, I guess. That's something. Maybe they should try it.
No, let's like Verdant. Going to be able to run this one through. FGG will become the victim of Sheehan. They do get themselves a 3-man knock-up up. And all of a sudden, Ruddy finds himself some kills, but in comes Flicker. He's got the locks down. He's got the damage. Gets himself the execute. Natty flashes away. He's keeping more pressure up onto Briefcase Man. He can get another execute off. He just about loses the spears as Briefcase Man is able to make a break for it. But the supers pouring in from that top side. And right now, that is a 1.5 item Lissandra. Like, they can barely do the damage to deal with a wave. They got to deal with a wave on the bot side. Oh.
Nash is up now as well. Verdant, you would think, just pay attention to that, take it, and then they don't even need to have one more fight in this game. You know, they just group up with minion waves. Poppy has a Magi's, man. Poppy has a 16 stack Magi's.
That's a well-read
Oh, that's
yodel.
a well record, eh?
My brain just like, it's done. It's done, bro.
That's fair, honestly. I think we're both in a similar.
I wonder what the total gold lead has been if you combine all of the games together.
Yeah, a pretty penny for Verdant.
A big number.
For sure. To think this is like one of the most one-sided game of League of Legends I've ever cast, and it's not even the one that had double pentakills from 2 different players in it. Yeah, I don't know. Can Ruddy steal this one?
Natty! He did it! It may have just been a flash in the pan, but he's able to steal it. Briefcase Man flashes away from the crocodile. No way he's getting caught out on that one. And Ruddy, it's still pretty doomed, but they bought themselves some time.
That was good. It's really important there to steal that Nash. But can Verdant end in this 4v5 now that Natty Nat is
That tower's
dead?
got no HP, man.
Yeah, it might just be difficult here. Yeah, okay. That will certainly do it. Now, maybe you wanted to do that while there are minions around so you could actually hit the tower. But, yeah, that was a little bit too early for Sniller here.
They're going to look for the lockdown on the Flicker. They're going to pin him down in place. He's low. Healing from this Soraka's not enough. 2 kills already picked up, and they go both onto Sheehan. Nilly, low HP as he gets picked up as well. Adfire able to secure the kill. This Baron doing dividends right now for Ruddy. Verdant getting a little bit too greedy with it, trying to push up and save it.
And they're pinging onto Dragon as well. Now, this Dragon is not only the 3rd Dragon for Ruddy, which puts him on soul point, but also is worth a butt-ton extra gold because of how far behind they are with objective bounties. Actually, really, really solid stuff here. Ruddy got 3 kills. Poppy didn't lose any Magi stacks, though, so that's still intact. And they're going to pick up this this Dragon, too. They've also denied, as you saw, obviously, they denied the Baron, so that's a big deal. This is about, you know, these past 3 minutes are probably the best 3 minutes that Ruddy's had in the entire series so far. Is it going to be enough to drag them back into it? They're still 10,000 gold behind, but I mean, it's looking much better now than it was like 5 minutes ago, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Very, very big. 23 minutes on the clock. 2 items on your Tristana. 2 items on your Lissandra. Is there a world where Ruddy can somehow pull this gold lead back? It's actually fallen to 10,000, which is an improvement, believe it or not, for Ruddy. But the problem is this Baron's only going to buy them time. They need to be able to actually achieve something more with it. As Snilly,
he's on a ward, he doesn't know.
Gets caught out by the flag and drag. They knew he was there, trying to make his way to the blast cone, and he is able to do so. Snilly with a great escape.
Cronin got chunked out on the top side jungle there as well by Errol. It's going to have to recall. It's just kind of paint by numbers here for Verdant. You just take a lane, push it in. I think at this point they're going to be playing a lot smarter now because you kind of got a taste of your own mortality a little bit there.
Yeah, I think they had a bit of fun.
Yes, they were having a bit of fun. Just just a little bit. He's got... What is he... What's Poppy... He got a bloody... What's that? Noon quiver?
He has a noon quiver?
RFC? Is he going into rapid fire for his passive? Like...
I hope not. Oh no,
maybe.
I don't think he's going into anything because this game may just be done. Down they go. Ults themselves to buy some space. Adbior can barely do anything but watch. We did see a little bit of damage coming out in response, but Ruddy able to just about survive this one. Briefcase man avoiding the Syndra orbs. Down goes the inhibitor. Ruddy need to get back and heal as quick as possible. The waves have been pushed out. The super's pouring on the bottom side. They get the scatter of the week off onto Adbior, and he is popped. He is down. This may be the end of days here for Ruddy. Natty trying to pull the minion wave away, trying to just be a bit of a nuisance as he lands the knock up onto Snilly, pulling the wave somewhat back. But Cronin, low HP, Adbio back up in 25 seconds. This tower has recovered a bit of HP. It's back to a quarter, up from a third. But it doesn't look like it's going to be able to last for too much longer. They try and jump forwards. The Soraka silence goes on the ground right in front of them. Lockdown comes on to Nilly. Nilly able to break away. Natty being just a bit of a nuisance. He does have his ultimate up and available. Cronin doesn't have his. Down goes the tower. In comes the wall bang. Cronin able to avoid the stun. Able to break away from it. Nilly's able to get the kill. They do actually now have their ADC back. Can Adbio save the day? I don't think he can. Nilly's going to try and jump forwards, but down they go. Briefcase man is down. Adbio putting some damage out onto Errol. Can he find the kill? He gets 1. He gets 2. He gets the resets, but he is being run down. Meanwhile, the Soraka is on the Nexus, is ending this game. It was maybe a little bit longer than it needed to be, and well over a kill a minute. An absolute bloodbath as Ruddy crumble in the series, and Verdant absolutely destroy them.
Verdant looking very impressive in that series. I actually think, you know, throughout those 3 wins, it was kind of 3 different styles of victory as well that Verdant had. I think the first game was much more controlled. They played kind of more standard and they just essentially bled Ruddy out. The second game was more scrappy, you know, much more skirmishy, back and forth, more flipping. Ruddy still won that one. And in the third one, that was just pure domination from lane to lane to lane. The solo kills, for, you know, coming up everywhere. Snille is able to just, yeah, it was pure domination in that game 3. One of the most one-sided League of Legends games I've ever witnessed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have to say, I think game 2 was the most life we saw from Ruddy, and that was still felt very one-sided. And, you know, it does feel like that one kind of came down a little bit to the draft, where they just didn't give themselves the tools. I think the first 2 games were very much like a big draft issue for Ruddy. Game 3, way better draft, but they just I think they were broken at that point, unfortunately. They really fell apart, and Verdant, they look fantastic. They looked absolutely amazing in this series, and this now puts them through. So they get to play versus... Oh, no, I've forgotten. They get to play versus a team in the next stage of the tournament.
Yeah, that's going to be JL, isn't it?
Yes, JL, there you go.
Natives.
So I'll be excited to see how they fare versus that, because this, to me, felt like a very weak Ruddy. So I'll be excited to see what this Verdant looks like versus some of these, you know, some of the teams that have got these wins under the belt and actually do start to look a little bit further ahead in that sense. So it's going to be a really good semi-finals. We got some seriously interesting teams. I feel like this series didn't really show off the kind of fun that you kind of get with the I've forgotten the name of the draft here, Fearless Draft. I feel a lot of that kind of came down to the fact that Ruddy didn't go meta at all until like later on in the day. But we got to see, you know, a few different things. Let's have a little look at the bracket and see how everything has been panned out after this one. As you can see, Ruddy now have got this win under their belt, so they will be playing versus JL. Fourth Wall taking on Lazy. Honestly, Fourth Wall was so good. It was such a solid series coming in from them, so I'm very excited to see how they are going to be playing versus Lazy, and then obviously this Verdant versus JL. Only 2 really notable names from the NLC with Fourth Wall and Verdant actually making it through into this part of the tournament. Makes for some really interesting stuff.
You know what's interesting? Don't even care about this. Predictions.
Oh, no.
I would like to say that not only did I know Verdant would win this series, but I knew they'd win in the fashion that they did. I'm the only person who predicted Ruddy to win game 1, to win the series, and in we talked about a one-sided game in that last one. The prediction game was just as one-sided. You guys all looking silly. However, having said that...
Hey, I got some points on the board. I got 3-0. I was correct in that sense.
You can't. How do you get points for saying 3-0 when you thought the other team were going to win?
You
should get negative points for that.
I knew it was going to be a 3-0. That's all I'm going to say. I'm a genius.
You guys, you are so far from the actual reality that you genuinely should get negative points for that. Although I do want to put an asterisk in here. I didn't submit my prediction for this series, and as a result, it was an NLC staff member who did this. So whoever that is, thank you for making me look galaxy-brained. I'd love to take full credit, but credit where credit's due. I have fallen ass backwards into this prediction and the success that it brings. So, yes, very happy though.
I'll give it to you, mate. You towing cost real good there. Let's have a look at the MVPs for this series. We submitted these actually after game 2, and I really stand by this. I think Nilly just completely out top lane Sheehan. Snilly, I mean, this series was a perfect highlight of why he deserves this MVP as well, right? Like, he was just on top of Natty. Natty just didn't get to play for 3 games in a row because Snilly was just on top of him the whole time. And FGG, this game maybe less so, but in the other 2 games, was always behind Snilly. On every play, it was the Goon Squad. These 2 running into the jungle, looking for Natty just to kind of bully him out of the game. Really, really solid players. And it feels a little weird to not have Errol or Flicker on here, considering they both got a pentakill in game number 2. But I feel like these 3 players were the backbone that enabled them.
The 2 that got the pentakills aren't even showing up on our MVP votes. That's actually quite funny. It is difficult to choose an MVP because I do think that Verdant showed up as a team really well. I'm just saying, breaking it down out of the 5 players, it's hard to choose, like, because they all could have been on that list, right?
Yeah.
But I do think, like, as you mentioned, Nile, pure domination in the 1v1, kind of took Xian to town a little bit. You know, 2 of the games he got solo kills. Snile was jungle gapping left, right, and center and set up his team really well. And in I think FGG as well, actually a little bit underrated as support for what he was able to do to constantly have a winning bot lane and to set up, his team too. But yeah, the whole team from Verdant did really well.
Yeah.
And I honestly would probably agree, in my personal opinion, either Nile or Snille. It's kind of tough to choose
Snille
which
for me.
one.
Snille for me. Easy.
It's Nile for me too. Now, whether I said it Snille or it's Nile, we'll have to decide. But yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we actually have Verdant's coach Etienne standing by for an interview, so let's bring them in after that very, very dominating series. Etienne, congratulations. How are you guys feeling after that one?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, but it's nice to finish the day early, so to speak. And I think everybody, like the mood, especially during that last game, everybody was quite excited. It's fair to say I'm a bit disappointed we couldn't close out sooner than we did, but it was it's a good result, and we're very happy.
So I've got to ask, man, what did Natty do to Snilly? Like, what caused him to like just bully him that much? Obviously, it looked like it was a decision for you guys to go in.
We've
like,
I can see
why Natty? Why was Natty the victim?
Yeah, I can't hear Jake. I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Do you hear Jake? Is Jake? He's gone.
I do. So he's talking about what Snilla did to Natty. Honestly, dude, I don't know. I know. So funnily enough, I'm pretty sure Snilla was saying that he played versus Natty's Rengar, so we already had it out for him in draft. Like we were going to be banning that Rengar throughout the series, no matter what. But I think Natty lost in solo queue to Snilla, so we just thought, hey, let's keep that trend going. Why not?
I just want to apologize. That is entirely my fault. Hitbrain was with us. I accidentally muted myself, so I couldn't hear him. I was like, "You guys must be the drama. It's not me." Yes, no. 18. I think it was a very one-sided series. Really, all things considered. I hope you feel better. I'm not surprised to hear that you're under the weather because your whole team looks sick. And I just want to say,
brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, for me, Jake and I were kind of talking a lot about the jungle picks specifically from Ruddy's side, and I kind of want to get your grasp or your opinion on the meta, because I believe like a Kha'Zix, the Graves especially, they're more like jungle focused picks. Like the jungler wants to be the guy, that he wants to be the man. And in pro play, you don't see that too much. So I'm just curious of your take on the meta as a whole, not specifically with Natty and with Ruddy and how it worked for them, but just the viability of these kind of picks and the option to slam down those kind of champions where jungle has traditionally been a much more like team orientated role.
Sure. So the very unbiased perspective, I think, is kind of a case by case point. I think we are a little bit more meta oriented. We are discussing like quite a few off meta picks behind the scenes. I kind of went into the series knowing that my laners were going to be very strong, like kind of like in their champion pools. We saw even in that last game, right? Like we saw the Kalista, we saw the Syndra, we see the Draven, and I think that enables like a lot of those what you could refer to as off meta picks, like the more carry oriented junglers. Personally, I am a massive fan of stuff like the J4, stuff like the Maokai, stuff like the Nocturne, and stuff like the Poppy. And I think that kind of is kind of reflective in how we were banning throughout the series. Excluding the Nocturne, we banned the Jarvan quite a lot. We banned the Nocturne when we couldn't take it on blue side. So I think it's kind of a case by case point, especially like in the NLC. Like I think you'll see a lot more like interesting picks. So I was kind of disappointed not to see like stuff like the Belveth or stuff like the Hecarim from Natty. But I think it's kind of a case by case point, right? But for me personally, I really like tank oriented junglers, stuff that can engage and strategically provide so much value to the team in that way.
Especially when you play a Poppy like
yeah.
Is that
yeah.
I mean, I've got to ask you about the tournament and the bizarre style that we are playing it in with the Fearless draft. Now, I for one go on record as saying I really enjoy Fearless. I'm curious,
Yeah.
you know, how do you feel about it? Is it more prep? You know, obviously meta, like you said, you're a more meta orientated team, but Fearless kind of has to force you to kind of break away from the meta as the champ pools get thinner and thinner. I'm curious to your thoughts just generally on Fearless, you know, whether you like it, whether you dislike it, and, you know,
Sure.
any additional thoughts, I guess, on it.
Yeah, personally, I really like it. I think it provides such an interesting challenge, because as you say, right, in regular best of fives, I think there's an inclination to always just kind of splurge and take every single like best meta pick that you can. So, you know, you'd be seeing a lot more meta picks from us every single game. That like we are inclined more towards picking stuff that we wouldn't normally play. So as a for instance, right, like I'd want to be picking stuff like Azir every single game if I can. You know, Erol probably is listening to this and hating me for saying that. It provides such an interesting challenge to be able to have to think on the fly, like particularly with bans, particularly with as we're progressing, like we've got to think, okay, what have our enemy picked, what have we picked, and like how are we going to be incorporating all of these meta picks. And when we think a little bit more strategically, like, do we want to play front to back? Like, is that going to be at the heart of our composition? Do we want to play more skirmish oriented? Then the pieces kind of fall into place. Like all of a sudden, when you're critically analyzing exactly what you want from a draft and you start from there, it's a really interesting and unique challenge to say, okay, we've not got the Jarvan anymore, so we can't play that for dive, but instead we've got the Nocturne, and when the Nocturne's out, we can pick something else, right? So I really love it. I think it's a great format. But with that being said, I will be happy to go back to what you could consider normal, but I'll be happy to see the
Less
format
work,
again,
right?
Sure. Yeah, well, pretty much.
I understand it's probably a lot of prep, especially for a coach when you're kind of thinking about the drafts. But you know, it is also, like you said, a very interesting challenge and a very as a viewer and as a caster, I love the variety it brings. So it makes for a very fun,
for sure.
very fun series. It's a bit sad it
Yeah,
was a
it's really
3-0
excellent.
because I would love to have seen more from you guys than from the teams. But
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
hopefully we will, as you guys are obviously through to the next stage of the tournament. So congratulations on that. Thank you for
very
joining
much,
us for this interview, NTN, and good luck with your upcoming games in your next series.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for the cast.
See you later, mate. Absolute banger. Very dominant 3-0 coming in from the side of Verdant. And before we all wrap everything up one more time, make sure you head over to our Twitter. I forgot to tell you where the vote was. Over to our Twitter so you can put your vote in for the MVP. Me and Foxy kind of addressed why we think these three are the ones who are going to be getting that MVP. But make sure you guys get the final say. Head over to Twitter, or X, it's Twitter, at NLC LOL, and put your vote in. If you don't vote for Snilly, you are trolling. Yeah. Nothing more to say on that.
It's a very good,
That's
good
typically
series
where
here
you
with
jump in,
some
Foxy,
very impressive
and where
performances.
your
I think
opinion
honestly,
on
as a team as a whole, you know, Verdant performed really well. So
Yeah.
I can see some arguments for either one of these three, definitely. But in that last
Nilly
game,
was
especially,
amazing in that last one.
Yeah,
It was absolutely amazing in that last one.
yeah, for sure.
Alrighty, well, for us here, we are done with the NLC. We are finished this week, I think. Yeah, we're all done this week. So thank you very much for joining us. Oh,
We got one
there
tomorrow.
we go. All right, so 1st of November and the 6th of November are when the next stages are through. So that is actually, oh my God, that is this week.
Wait,
That's Wednesday. Wait,
That's-
yeah, that's Wednesday.
wait, I'm confused.
Okay, it's Wednesday and Wednesday and Monday next week, but Wednesday this week. So we're not done this week. Make sure you come back same time on Wednesday for our game of Fourth Wall versus Lazy. It's gonna be a banger. Congratulations to Verdant for taking that win, very dominant. My brain is melted. I'm overheating and very hungry. We will leave it there, and we will see you next time. Good night.